Wendy Bell Radio is live. I guess I should be on screen to say that. Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the jungle. It's going to get worse before it gets better, y'all.
Oh, boy.
Hey, it's Wendy time, somebody said. Isn't that cute? I don't have my glasses on. Flippin' 56 sucks. Not my dog. Hi, babe. How are you? Hi, Demanda. Hey, how are you? Hi, Cher. Hi, Tiedman. What's up, Stormy? Hi, Viper and Goody. It's good to see you guys. Let's see, who do we have over here who's writing me luxurious and lugubriously stunning messages of love? Okay, maybe not. Let's see.
I think they're just putting what number they are.
Yeah. Good morning, sane people. Eric the Gray was number 1 this morning in the comments. That is fan-freaking-tastic. Hey, Lexus, Saturday, May 16th will be my 56th wedding anniversary. Well, you know what? I'm sorry that your husband's recovering from his hip surgery. Aw. I hope he heals quickly. Good morning, Rob V. How are you, babe? This show gives you more valid, truthful information than all the news media broadcasts put together. Aw. You know what's interesting, Brock? And I don't know if you caught this. So Newsmax is giving this Finnerty a lot, right? They're giving him a lot of leeway. But I wondered if you caught what Dr. Stephen Greer says, and we're going to have this for you in the third hour after we get through China and all this other stuff. But Dr. Stephen Greer mentioned Werner von Braun.
Yes.
And I knew you would pick that up. And I was like, I know nobody else clicked on that article and read that article about what this guy, Werner von Braun, the father of modern rockets, right, who basically gave the Nazis the technology, was working with I mean, like, this guy is like, but he told one of his closest associates, Dr. Rosen, he's like, don't fall for the alien bullcrap. He's like, first they're going to come at you and say it's like a cold war.
He's saying it's not a space war. Don't fall the space war.
It's not like it's aliens aren't here attacking. Don't fall for that. There's something else. And it's like what
I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed, because I watch Newsmax probably more than you do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Carl has taken a lot of liberties where they would give you the
I wasn't allowed to talk about race,
vaccines,
COVID, basically in general.
Right.
They didn't want any of that. And
they were sketch on Lahaina and your take on Lahaina, and it went viral.
How many times did it go viral? It went like
times.
Millions and millions and millions. Because we're like, so there's no water, there's no siren.
What does
and everybody gets channeled into the same area where it goes.
Think about Lahaina.
Vanish. Like, what happened?
And then fast forward to the Palisades.
Hello.
No water, no hydrants.
We didn't know.
Government officials not doing their job.
Well, my next one, I told you I was digging into Hitachi and this other stuff, digging into these 15-minute cities and other nefarious stuff. And they were like, absolutely not. I might dig up my scripts that I wrote. I wrote a couple badass scripts and I worked really hard on them. And they full stop were like, yeah, no. And Carl and freaking Rob Finnerty are like, blah, blah, blah. So it's an alien human breeding program. That's what they're covering up. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
But I was talking about vaccines killing people. And what do we have today? Oh, the FDA hid that the jab was killing children. Huh? What?
789 says, I never believed in aliens. You better start.
Because they're here.
Start.
They're here, baby.
Yeah.
They're here. And you know what? It's not just like we're super sus of everything. But let me tell you quickly, Ireland contracting 1-800 new roof. Look, it is spring. It is time. Time to get up on your roof. Time to look at your windows. Time to think about your siding. Time to look at the soffit and fascia, which is so unsexy, but needs to be shipshape, right? In good shape. All of this stuff, home exterior renovation work. These projects are expensive. It's not like somebody's giving you a $2,000 estimate. You're like, when you get it. But when you're going to spend a chunk of money with the company, you want them to work with you and you want them to do the best job. Ireland Contracting. If you live in Southwestern land before time, you're welcome. I love them. They've been in my house a million times, right? They've saved me a bunch. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. I got a great Blood Flow 7 testimonial from a 61-year-old woman. You guys need to pay attention to this because I think you don't think I'm telling you the truth about Blood Flow 7, but I am. Anywho,
here we go.
Rumble, rumble, rumble. I made you out of clay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
We are not going back, not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. I don't know about you guys, but I have been glued to this China stuff. I can't get away from it. I can't stop. It is so fascinating to watch the leaders of the rest of the world literally roll out the most amazing red carpet for this president. This one guy, it's not the delegation. It's not all the dudes on the plane. It's not all the people who are covering this. It is one guy. It is one man, and his name is Donald Trump, and he's brought America back. This is the story today, and I'm delighted to share it with you. We've got a lot of weird stories to talk about, some alien stuff, but it's good. Freaky, but good. We're going to talk about COVID as well, the jab. Problems with the jab. I know, it's a shocker. It's finally coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, we've told you the truth for years. We're not going to stop today. So if you're new, WendyBellRadio.com, follow along, get our app, watch the live video feed, join in the chat, and become part of our army. I'm delighted that you're here. Welcome to my family. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. We're going to get to this China visit. We're working on a 12-hour delay with this delegation with President Trump and Eric Trump and Laura and Marco Rubio and Scott Bessent and everybody and his brother from like the top 30 AI tech companies out there. It's crazy. It's going to be a great story, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of it in just a minute. But I want to tell you about something that I think is a far bigger issue, because if President Trump is not in charge of what's going on in this country, then who is? If what this president says and the executive orders he issues, which of course our stupid Senate can't figure out and ratify anything that he does, because John Thune needs to be replaced, and that's going to obviously have to come to a head. But if this president isn't the guy who's calling the shots, who is? What is that blob? We keep asking ourselves, what is that? Because this story came out overnight. I was up very early in the morning, and it hit my inbox, and I was like, So Did you hear that during the government shutdown, apparently unknown people within the CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's director of national intelligence offices? And they went in at night and they took some stuff. Now, going in at night during a government shutdown raises a lot of eyebrows. Why not go in during the day? Because you don't want anybody to see what you're doing. And you don't want them to know what you're taking. And that's what happened. And we learned about it this morning when Anna Paulina Luna, last night on Katie Pavlich's show on News Nation, it was almost like a sort of afterthought. She said the CIA raided Tulsi Gabbard's office at the Department of National Intelligence, and they seized all these boxes of evidence, and it was specific boxes of evidence. It was evidence about the JFK assassination. It was evidence about the CIA's mind control operation, MK Ultra. It was those particular story threads that they went into Tulsi Gabbard's office and stole or seized, if one might say. At first, she said it was a raid, and that caught my attention. Here's what Anna Paulina Luna said that piqued my ears.
You also have some news coming out of the CIA that you'd like to share.
Yeah, so we were actually just notified that the CIA went in and took documents out of ODNI, multiple boxes pertaining to the JFK files as well as MK Ultra. The reason why this is troubling is there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MK Ultra files. The CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed, and so very troubling. I did just talk to Chairman Comer, and we are sending in the next hour or so a preservation of documents request to the CIA. I have calls into the White House, to the director of the CIA himself, and so obviously as this develops, we'll keep everyone up to date, but strange times we're living in.
Okay, so director of the CIA, who is it? It's John Ratcliffe. Do you think in about a year and a couple months since this president took office again that John Ratcliffe knows everything that's going on any more than Kash Patel knows what's going on with the FBI? Do you believe that there are agents all over the Department of Justice in whatever iteration or alphabet agency they're a part of that are a part of the deep state that are doing everything they can to put down spike strips and to plant like landmines under the road so anything Donald Trump or this administration does goes, because I do. And we heard John Brennan say it this week. But I want to get to Anna Paulina Luna's second message. So not only has she said, look, Tulsi Gabbard's about to drop this classified stuff. She's about to declassify it. She's in the process of doing it. This is an order by the president. Declassify. The American people want transparency. I'm listening to them. Give them what they want. And then these documents are seized in what Anna Paulina Luna is calling a raid. And then she gets pissed. Listen.
This is not a threat. This is going to happen. If those files are not returned within the next 24 hours, you will be called, your faces will be made public in front of the entire American people. All of Congress will see it, and we will hold you accountable for going against a direct executive order by the president and interfering with a congressional investigation. So return the files. Do not destroy documents. You will get a preservation of documents notice for Congress, and any member of the CIA that engages in undermining this investigation will be held criminally accountable. And I'm also waiting for a call back from Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general. We are not playing games with you. Return the documents.
I'm not so sure Anna Paulina Luna realizes this is way bigger than her. This is bigger than the director of the CIA or the FBI director. This is bigger than the president of the United States. There is some blob entity that believes it operates above and beyond the parameters of the law. Ladies and gentlemen, no one is above the law. Oh, really? Well, what the hell are you doing? Okay, so this brings me back to that idea that we experienced on Monday when we flushed out, or maybe it was Tuesday, when we heard Nicole Wallace ask Hack McHackmore, the king of blowhardy, a former CIA director, John Brennan, a very specific question about the deep state. What's the deep state doing to stop Trump's DOJ from uncovering the grand conspiracy? This is how she said it, but that's what I heard. Listen.
Trump says these people are dirty. Todd Blanche says we're lucky to have Trump involved in this. Kash Patel says I have a bat phone into the Oval Office. He has succeeded largely in turning DOJ and the FBI into political arms of his political operation. What still exists in the system to slow that down?
Still exists in the system for Trump, Kash Patel, John Radcliffe, or anybody else who doesn't suck to find out how much we do. Right? That's the question, to which John Brennan, who looks like he's seen a ghost, he says, you know what, Nicole, don't you worry your pretty little head about it. We won't let this DOJ uncover our crimes. We got a bunch of deep state operatives still employed by the department who will protect us. A legion of them, remember?
There's still a legion of professionals in the law enforcement environment, the Department of Justice, as well as the CIA and other places, the ones who are refusing to follow politically motivated prosecutions, those who are refusing to support any type of political activities on the part of the Trump administration that are inconsistent with the authorities, the responsibilities of the intelligence community, law enforcement community, and Department of Justice.
We have a legion, Nicole. Don't you worry about it. And the CIA dude who stepped out yesterday to blow the whistle, don't you worry about him. We've got ways to deal with that kind of guy. Now, Katie Pavlich over at News Nation, after breaking this story with Anna Paulina Luna, she posts on her Twitter page, I've been following it. She's like, says this. She says, we've since learned that the documents were not taken today. It was not a raid on the Department of National Intelligence and Gabbard's office, but people from the CIA took documents related to the JFK assassination and MK Ultra from the National Reconnaissance Office last year in the middle of the night during the government shutdown and have not returned those documents to the office of the Director of National Intelligence. And because the CIA is withholding these documents, they cannot be declassified and scanned for public release. The CIA doesn't think they answer to anyone. And it is quite unlikely that CIA Director John Ratcliffe knew anything about it. What in the Sam Hill is going on? If you jaywalk, there's some, blue-haired nutcase yelling in your face, right? But if you're a deep state operative who's got ties to John Brennan, you can do whatever you want. We don't want everybody to know about that. Is that because the CIA took out JFK? Of course. Duh. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the CIA taking documents from the ODNI is kind of like the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago. When a corrupt government can break down the doors of a former president's home and rifle through his stuff, you live in a banana republic, folks. Welcome to it. I am glad I took my blood flow 7 because my blood pressure is going to the roof right now. Like, honestly, it's so preposterous. Does the CIA do anything that's actually good? Because if you followed Mike Benz at all, he takes you back to the fiddling of a changing of the regime in Italy back in 1948, which was by the hands of the CIA. How many other things have we done? How many things, not we, they, the CIA, covert operations, are any of them above board? Are they good for anybody? Or are they just kind of like the goons in Scandal who knock off dissenters? Like, what is it? And how much is John Ratcliffe ever going to know about it? I don't know. Pisses me off. Trump's going to have to weigh in on this, right? All right, I want to read this to you. This is from Robin. Wendy, let me start with a thank you. I'm 61, and with Empty Nest, now my new reality, I joined a sauna gym in January of 2026. I guess you work out when it's cranked up hot. I love it. I started taking Blood Flow 7 the 2nd of January, getting up at 4 a.m. to start my day. Little housework, little rebounding, off to work. where I am more mentally aware now of the happenings in the office. No afternoon drowsies. Once home, I take my dogs for a walk, then off to the gym. I work out with 20, 30, 40 somethings. I can hang and sometimes I can hang with and during some workouts surpass them. I'm like, I know, it's the best. They take breaks, they go out to the water fountain, they step out of the sauna, or they just lay down on their map as I keep going. And there are a few of them who comment on my stamina and my endurance. They hope that they have my determination when they're my age. They never call me old. I'm flexible and feel stronger. I absolutely attribute my success to Blood Flow 7, and I tell my fellow gym mates all about it, as I recommend they click and check it out. I give the website to them. Don't forget the /Wendy. And as I exit the gym, I realize I am feeling fabulous. Oh, and yes, I sleep like a boulder. That is awesome. That is bloodflow7.com /Wendy. And that's what it is. I take 2 of these every single day. Same time, about 4 in the morning. And I'm just going to tell you one more time, I will not go a day without it. You feel fantastic. You are wide alert. Like, I had 5 hours of sleep last night. There's no need for me to be alert, but I'm totally alert. I worked out this morning and I kicked some butt. And this is possible for you as well. Bloodflow7.com /Wendy. Just going to say it for the 15th time. It's the best. I'm putting that testimonial in my keeper file. Like, keeper file. FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, and it just so happened that the New York Times and CNN were on the scene before even the authorities. It was just so weird how that worked out. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, August 22nd, my anniversary. I'm watching this. And it's that nighttime video. You've seen it a bazillion, gillion times. It's the choppers and the lights coming down, and all you can see the lights of the authorities walking in to a former president of the United States private residence, Mar-a-Lago. And I remember thinking, whoa. I thought launching a virus, accidentally or not, and then presenting to the world the antidote, the fix, which was really the deadly elixir, right, was bad. But if they can go and invade the private walls of a former president and rifle through all of his belongings and stage photographs to create the illusion of a storyline, they're desperate for you to believe that Donald Trump thought he was above the law. And he took all these classified documents. And we're coming to get them. Now, they were looking for the damn binder. They were looking for exactly what you're about to hear Maria Bartiromo over at Fox last October hold up in her hands as she says to Devin Nunes, former congressman and the chairman of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board. She holds up what they were looking for at Mar-a-Lago. She says, this is it, right? The declassified intelligence community assessment cooked up by Hillary and Obama and Brennan and Clapper and Comey. Oh, seashells in the sand. And Adam Schiff, that complete jerk, and all the others to frame Donald Trump in 2016 in an effort to overthrow the United States government. I can't even believe that those words come out of my mouth and that they are accurate. But I want you to hear Maria Bartiromo holding it up and being like, this is what they raided the Mar-a-Lago location for. Correct? Listen.
I'm going to try to get out as much of this information and get it declassified as possible.
So you believe that they raided Mar-a-Lago because they were looking for this? They were looking for the intelligence community assessment, your report on Russia's influence campaign targeting the 2016 presidential election. That's why they raided Mar-a-Lago.
I believe it had to be one of the things that they were looking for. Because, look, that report is pretty damning if people take the time to read it. It's, 45 pages. It spent, we had a dedicated team that spent nearly 2 years down at the CIA looking through this. It was blocked from getting out. And the reason that report is so important, right, that's, let's just dumb it down, simply put. We went through every single piece of intelligence that existed. And if anything, it was clear that if Putin was going to do anything, he probably wanted Hillary Clinton to win. But in fact, if you just apply a little common sense to it, the fact was that nobody around the world thought that President Trump was going to win in 2016. Same with Vladimir Putin. He didn't either. And so when you go through that, that was the intelligence. Every piece of intelligence that existed we went through it. It's in that report. And what do we know? After all this, after all, Trump and Russia and collusion, the two people that didn't collude? Trump and Russia.
Exactly. I love that Brock is fact checking me in real time. He's remembering my anniversary memories. And he's like, yeah, you're wrong. It was August 8th, not the 22nd. I'm like, dang it. What Devin Nunes is telling you right now is so ridiculously mind boggling. And it's like we gobble up these audio sound bites like it's just popcorn. It's no big deal. What he's telling you is Donald Trump had the goods. He knew what they did. He has proof of what they did. He's got all of their digits. They're all implicated, and it's all ultimately it's got to come out. But don't ever forget that these people didn't want you to choose who you wanted. These people who sit in their Capitol Hill offices or even old gavels of power, and they tell you that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, that what's going on in the South with the redistricting is taking away people's right to vote. People are being disenfranchised. Well, you know what? What the hell did they do to you? They tried to steal your vote. They fiddled with the machines. They lied to you endlessly about this man. And what did you do? You saw through it all. And you have been unwavering. And they hate you for it. See, Republicans are learning that it's not just enough to have power. You've got to use the power. And they're using it. Democrats are freaking terrified. And I love it because they have trampled on every single tenet of what it means, what it did to the founding fathers to be a citizen of these United States of America. And these people believe that they are above the law. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about the CIA whistleblower from yesterday. How big a deal was it that this fellow stepped forward? Is it the tip of the iceberg? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Well, I have early onset Alzheimer's, then I'm sorry.
Well, no, I thought you were in Hilton Head when it happened.
Maybe it was August of 2022 and I heard August 22 and I'm like, that's my anniversary. And so that's, yeah, well, I maybe need to double up on my blood flow 7. Okay, so I want to tell you one more time. Look, I'm not supposed to talk about Cozy Earth today, but I'm just going to tell you, if I'm going to talk to you about Ghost Bed, and I'm going to tell you about the most amazing sleeping experience you've had in forever, by the time your mattress is 10 years old, you're like, ugh. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and that's allow you to slip in underneath the most fantastic sheets, put your head on the pillow, and within, a minute or two, be able to be like, ugh. If you toss and turn, if you can never get comfortable, if you feel like your mind is like, da, 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 you know what helps that when you sleep? It is having a quality sleep system. This isn't just a mattress. This isn't just fabric. This is an entire health system for you. It really is, because if you're not getting restful sleep at night, you're cooked. Your next day, you're cooked. You're not the mom you want to be. You're not the worker you want to be. You're not the wife you want to be. You're nothing. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. Their prices are stupid. He's got a great sale going on for Memorial Day, plus 10% off with my name, Wendy. All sorts of different options. Plus, if you have a camper, you have an RV, you can get mattresses for those. They even make little doggy bed mattresses. They're so cute. I have the hybrid, so it's a nice firm, but it's got a nice pillow top, but it's like waffled almost. So you lay down and your whole body just goes like you're in a cloud. That's it. That's it. It's the secret. And you have 101 nights to be like, I don't know if I like it or not. You're gonna like it. You're going to like it, and it comes super quick, and it's easy. Look, if you have a hard time getting it up the steps, you need help setting it up, there's an option for that. They'll help you with that. And if you don't like it after 101 nights, they'll take it from you and refund your money, but you're going to want to keep it forever. Ghostbed.com/Wendy. By the way, the Cozy Earth, I'm going to give you one more time. I already said it, but I'm going to tell you one more time. CozyEarth.com/Wendy, 20% off.
I think I'm going to need to get a.
Ryan was just talking to me about his towels. He was totally chirping about it. I'm like, don't you dare. I just bought Cozy Earth towels, not you. Like, you don't get those yet.
You're not a 1%er yet.
You're not allowed to have that.
Brock has to mooch off me first.
The towels, by the way. Look, I'm tired of having all the little niblets for the first 2 months after you get new towels. It's always in your skin and little nibs everywhere. Like, no, I don't want that. 20% off.
Let me say, I'm going to have to get a ghost bed.
Cozy Earth. You are?
Someone, on Twitter forwarded me or tagged me in something about sleep numbers.
Oh, yeah.
And having mold in the lines for the air. I didn't even go. I saw it this morning. I'm like, I'm not even looking. I'm not even going to looking. And this lady who went on talked about, she bought hers the same year I bought mine. I'm like, I don't even want to look.
All right. So why don't you go, don't look, go on a ghost bed today and check it out and see what would be a commensurate model to yours. And let's get that process started.
Oh, just
the thought of that gives me heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, right. You
get to snuggle bug in it all night long. Breathe it in.
I might sleep on a couch. I might sleep in my chair tonight. That's how disturbing it was.
Look, you can have your hyperbaric chamber like Joe Biden.
Yeah, I might have to sleep in my chair tonight. That's how disturbing it was.
That is, when you hear stuff like that, you're like, son of a mother.
And here's the thing, I don't even want to look.
No, I wouldn't want to look either. All right, guys, I told you. I told you about this. Oops, I never do it backwards right for you guys. Oops, sorry. Here we go. Wait.
Back it up a little bit. There you go.
All right. Serene Gel Cleanser. I'm just going to tell you. My face is like, my girl, I love you. Wash your face at night and in the morning, right?
Would you be happy with an anniversary gift of that? My anniversary's coming up.
It is fantastic. Fantastic, this cleanser. Hold on. I'm going to read you what's in it. After a long day, you reach for the Serene Gel Cleanser. Well, it's usually a beer, but I'll go with this second. And the calming, what is that? What's that word? What? Oh, scent. Instantly begins to melt away your stress. The gel texture feels refreshing, lifting away impurities without drying out your skin. Once rinsed, your face feels soft and clean, like you've just had a mini spa moment at home. It's true. It sounds really kind of gay, but it's true. I like it. Here we go. It's the kind of cleanser that leaves you glowing and ready to unwind. Okay? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But if you're going to get that, you've got to get the Blue Calm. You got to get the Blue Calm that goes on top. TulipBlooms.shop/Wendy. Remember, buy one, get one, 50% off the Rainfall collection. This is the lotions that are like, fantastic. I love it. right now.
I'm gonna have
And
to look.
you get an extra 10% off with my name if I'm not mistaken. Go get it. Tulipblooms.shop/1. You're going to shop for Kate.
I might put my name in, see what happens.
What do you mean? What? What does that mean?
No, I'm just saying. You said put my name in,
Oh.
get 10%.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Hey, if you're new to the show, I'm just going to give you a quick refresher, all right? Well, it couldn't be a refresher because you won't know me. We tell you the truth on this program. We do not lie to you. That's the secret sauce for me, right? It's to make sure that you know. We give you the best information we can. And if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself and say sorry, right? And that's what we do on this program. WendyBellRadio.com. If you'd like to be a part of the live video stream. And by the way, might I thank you all for helping us reach 7.9 million podcast downloads. That's because of you. Thank you. You know, telling the truth, I guess for an awful lot of people, is difficult. Not because they're liars per se, but I think some people fundamentally have a very strong center. And there's not a lot that you can do that's going to move them off of that. But there are a lot of people who follow the leader and just either look the other way or don't want to get involved. It's not my problem. I didn't see it. Not me, right? I don't want to get my hands dirty. I don't want to rock the boat. And I sure as heck don't want to put myself out there to be a lightning rod of controversy and ultimately lose my job and everything that matters to me. But then there are other people who are like, look, I can't sit here knowing what I know. And I don't understand the biology or the psychology of what makes us those two different groups. But if you think about it, there are a hell of a lot of people who have to go along with ridiculous things for ridiculous things to happen in this country. A hell of a lot of people at the CDC and the FDA and the NIH and all of the other agencies during COVID. A hell of a lot of good, smart people had to keep their mouths shut for that whole epidemic and what it did to us and for how long it lasted, for all of that to work. The CIA, I know very little about. I'm not connected in any capacity. I have no bat phone that takes me to the promised land where I get answers. I have common sense. And my common sense tells me the CIA has caused an awful lot of problems, has done an awful lot of dirty stuff, and I don't even know a fraction of it. The CIA meddles in foreign governments. The CIA, no doubt, is responsible for bad intel that's probably gotten us into wars. The CIA is about the CIA, and whomever the deep state is has its fingers all over the CIA and controls it. It's not John Radcliffe. So we can go and we can vote every November. We can go every 4 years and choose our president. But there's an administration that never leaves. There's supposed to be this changeover. It's supposed to be this friendly, cooperative thing. Even if Democrats and Republicans have knives out for each other, there's basic decorum that we all expect, right? Conduct becoming. Transfer the power, move along, and let the new administration do what the new administration does. But that's not what happened. They didn't let Donald Trump do what he wanted to do. They didn't let him pick who he wanted. He got bad advice his first term. And then he paid the price for it. They went after him with everything they had. All because what? He could not be bought. He could not be bribed. There was no proverbial gun they could hold to his head. Think about how clean you have to be to survive 10 years of the most ridiculous onslaught of nonsense. All because why? Because Donald Trump dared to come down an escalator with his wife behind him and say to the American people, what have you got to lose? And I think I'm the only one who can keep this country from being destroyed. And people were like, ha 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 ha, what a silly man. He's got orange makeup on. He's a reality TV star. He's a racist. No. He had mingled and hobnobbed with all these same people who then, when he became the candidate, knives out. All of a sudden, relationship over. It's one thing when you're a billionaire. It's one thing when you've got all this stuff around you. You've got a beautiful family. Your children are successful. Everybody's doing well. And if you walked away from the job today, you'd still be comfortable for the rest of your life. And so would every future descendant of yours. You are that wealthy. It's a different thing when you're just a guy who loves his country and has a very strong belief in right versus wrong. And that's what this guy yesterday who came forward, James Erdman, he came forward, said, I was tasked through the Office of the Director of National Intelligence and the CIA to dig into stuff, and I've uncovered stuff about COVID. And I found that the lightning rod that changed the conversation about COVID, where it came from and how we should handle it, was none other than Dr. Death. Sorry, Tony Fauci. For this man to come forward and say that on live television in front of a Republican-only panel because all of the Democrats decided to sit it out, which tells you everything about how they feel about you. This man put everything, including his life, on the line to come out of the shadows and say unequivocally it was Tony Fauci. And the things that we're learning that you and I have long surmised, we knew we were over the mark. I knew I was over the mark when I got fired multiple times, merely for asking questions, merely for having common sense, having a microphone, and having you were the threat. Because you paid attention and you walked through all of it every single day with us. It's no different than MAGA. It's why they hate you. Because you think for yourself and you have common sense. This young man, Josh Hawley, yesterday, in 17 seconds, basically destroys any shred of credibility that Dr. Fauci would have remaining. Then this man who browbeat all of us and finger wagged us, if you don't trust me, you don't trust science, who said so much garbage for so long, Josh Hawley destroys him in 17 seconds, and as well he should.
We just heard testimony that he intervened behind the scenes to try and get our own intelligence agencies, CIA, FBI, to change their assessment of the lab leak. Why? Because he helped fund the Wuhan lab. He supported and funded gain-of-function research, and then he tried to cover it up.
Media was paying attention because they sure haven't been when we've been talking about this, right? And then there's Jesse Waters. Last night he had former CIA officer John Kiriakou on. And he says basically that this whistleblower who exposed Fauci yesterday for being the linchpin of so much darkness and so much crap information and so many deaths, 1 million in this country alone, right? And Jesse Waters says to former CIA officer John Kiriakou, what do you think about this whistleblower? What's going to happen to this guy? Listen.
John Kiriakou is a former CIA officer and whistleblower. John Kiriakou is a former CIA officer and whistleblower. Does this jive with how things are done at the agency? Someone just makes a phone call and everything changes?
Unfortunately, yes. We see this kind of thing all the time. And Jesse, at the heart of this story is that it's always best to tell the truth. The truth always comes out. And I want to comment on the whistleblower, too. This was a very brave thing he did. He put his reputation on the line today. He told the world exactly what the truth was. He'll probably never work in government again because of it. But now we have an idea of what was being done secretly, yet in our name.
And Fauci got pardoned. So
yes,
he may
did.
have killed 1 million Americans. We don't know if the exact virus was Frankensteined out that he paid for, but still, I mean, and then he just walks away like nothing happened?
My cousin George Koletsu was the second person in the state of Ohio to die of COVID back in very early 2020. That death still stings all of us in our family. And now I can't help but to look at Dr. Fauci and think, you liar. Look what you've done to our country. And you're right. He was auto-penned right into freedom and wealth and untold riches in his retirements. That is unacceptable.
And again, if I'm in the government and I don't suck, I want that young man the same way I wanted Joseph Ziegler and Gary Shapley, who blew the whistle on the IRS, which was weaponized against conservatives, and so much worse. I would elevate these people to positions because I now understand your character. I understand who you are intrinsically, core level, which is so much more important than anything else. And by the way, for the CIA, did you hear how upset they were when Ron Johnson and Rand Paul called this hearing and none of the Democrats went? The CIA decided to respond. This is not John Ratcliffe's response. It can't be. But listen to this. This is Bill Maloogian, Fox News.
And I want to give you a little color that we're getting from the CIA just now. They are not happy with the way this hearing is going down. They are accusing Senator Rand Paul and the Senate Homeland Security Committee of, quote, acting in bad faith in putting this hearing together. They say this witness in there isn't a whistleblower. They say he hasn't sought any whistleblower protections. They said he's in that room right now because the committee subpoenaed him, compelled him to come in and testify. And the CIA says they weren't given a heads up about this. The committee didn't go through the proper channels, and they provided Fox News a statement. It says in part, quote, the committee acted in bad faith by subpoenaing an agency officer for testimony today without notifying CIA, despite having already obtained closed-door testimony from the individual previously. The witness testifying today is not appearing as a whistleblower in pursuit of the truth, but instead in response to the subpoena issued by Chairman Paul. This proceeding amounts to nothing more than a dishonest political theater masquerading as a congressional hearing. As the CIA has already assessed, COVID-19 most likely originated from a lab leak, and efforts to undermine that conclusion are disingenuous. Well, Harris, as Senator Rand Paul was walking into that hearing room this morning, again, he chairs this committee. I told him about that CIA statement and told him they're accusing him of operating in bad faith. I asked him to respond to that. Here's what he said. The CIA says the committee acted in bad faith with this hearing. They just sent out a statement. Your response to that?
You know, I think transparency is good. I think we overclassify everything. Congress passed a law to unanimously declassify all of the COVID information. We all want to know the truth. Where did it come from? Why has it taken so long for people to admit to it? Now almost every agency admits that it did come from the lab, but they still haven't been forthcoming. There's no reason to have secrets on this. We want them to obey the law. The CIA needs to obey the law, and they need to reveal the information.
You know what I want? We already knew where the damn virus came from. Anybody with a functioning brainstem knew where it came from. I want to see heads rolling. That's what I want, Senator Paul. It's taken 5 years to get to this hearing, for heaven's sakes. Does Fauci have to die before we can see him perp walked? Yeah, probably. Ain't gonna happen. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, bravery also means standing up to the fake news. Spencer Pratt did that yesterday. You see him? LA mayoral candidate, blistering next. You know, I would go absolutely haywire if I had to sit through these long, drawn out, dancing around the perimeter, never really getting anywhere because everything is covered up because nobody wants anybody else to know what they did wrong. Well, it's funny when you don't make crappy decisions based on your own, I don't know, ego or outcome. You can sleep pretty comfortable at night, very comfortably. You don't feel the need to lie or to cover it up. But the minute you start down that lie rabbit hole, whew, I'm telling you what, it's hard to come back. Jagoffs. I want to tell you about Wendy Loves Gold. He's going to be mad at me because he normally puts it up before he goes to the bathroom. But wendylovesgold.com. And the only reason why is because I can't spell bullion. It sounds so dumb, but they're like, we're not going to send people to Texas Bullion Exchange anymore. Let's have it be Wendy Loves Gold. And I'm like, okay. wendylovesgold.com. I love these guys. They're going to come out here soon and shoot a commercial with us, do a national ad campaign. Who knows where it's going to go, but they're like, you've been such a supporter of what we do. And there's a reason why I support Texas Bullion Exchange. And there are a billion companies out there that do what they do. There are companies that offer all of the products that I have sponsors of on this program. But I trust wendylovesgold.com, 855-927-5557. I trust when they say this is what's going on. This is what's going on. And if I called them and I was like, look, I need some advice. Is now a good time? Or what do you think? Should I wait? How do you view prices? They'll tell you exactly what they would do. And the thing I like about the folks at Texas Bullion Exchange, wendylovesgold.com, 855-927-5557. Maybe I could put it up. Ooh, can you imagine if I was super crafty? Hold on. No. Where do you keep wendylovesgold.com? I'm trying to put it up and I don't know where it is. Oh, sorry. 855-927-5557. They're just like we are. They're conservatives who love this country, who love the American flag, and who believe in President Trump. And so they want you to do beautiful things. They believe in your own golden age. And part of that is planning for the future. And a lot of that is diversifying. So if you're heavily invested in the stock market or 100% invested in the stock market, and you don't have other avenues by which you can, mitigate any kind of risk, wendylovesgold.com. These are the people you should get in touch with. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium, whether you want to hold it in your hot little hands or you never want to see it, you just want it in your portfolio somewhere. These are my friends. These are the people I trust. And that phone number, again, goes right to them. They know it's you. So you'll be like, hi, Wendy sent me. And they'll be like, hey, I'm so excited. 855-927-5557. wendylovesgold.com. Okay. I love this Spencer Pratt stuff. I think it's very interesting that TMZ, which sucks, I'd love to talk to TMC. Where's Nancy Guthrie? Because you beat that horse for about a month, maybe more. Woman's been gone for 100 days. Good luck. Good work, TMZ. They come out with a hit piece on Spencer Pratt. They say that he's living in a posh hotel. Where the hell are you supposed to? Principles, people with values, people with morals and ethics. Do you know what bravery is? Bravery is standing up and going for something that you have no knowledge of, like being mayor, because you're tired of everybody else around you failing you and cheating you. And then when it burns down your house, right? Bravery is putting your flag in the sand and saying, I'm done. I'm going to do whatever it takes. We're going to fix this freaking city. That's Spencer Pratt. He's the Republican candidate for mayor in LA. And he's surging. Did you hear that TMZ put out this hit piece, right? They're like, well, some people found out that he's been staying at the Bel Air, the Beverly Bel Air, or whatever the hell it's called. I've stayed at this hotel. It's a nice hotel, but whatever. I want to read you the first two paragraphs of this. Oh, it's the, here we go. Spencer Pratt ditches trailer for swanky Hotel Bel Air. What a garbage TMZ headline. We asked Spencer if he's ever lived in the trailer, and he said no, adding, I've never told anyone I live there. However, in the campaign ad, he says squarely, this is where I live, as he stood in front of the trailer. That's their whole rub. He's gained traction in his campaign for LA mayor by showing what he says Karen Bass did to his family, forcing them to live in a trailer after his home burned down. But TMZ has learned, he's traded in the trailer for one of the swankiest hotels in LA. That's factually incorrect. That's bogus. That's garbage. And Spencer Pratt in real time fact checks TMZ. And it's freaking delicious. Here is audio soundbite number 1 as Spencer Pratt takes on TMZ and says, you know what? They took my house. I don't have anywhere to live. Where do you want me to go?
The campaign ad certainly made it seem that you were living in that trailer. It was a high point of the commercial, but you're at the Hotel Bel Air. So kind of undo that for us.
No, to be clear, that is where, excuse me, that is where I live. That's where Karen Bass, Mayor Bass, burned down my house. That is where I will live until I have a new house. The Airstream is a temporary facility. A hotel is a temporary facility. Where my kids are in Santa Barbara right now is a temporary housing. This is where I live. As this is where they burned my house down. So this semantics or the nuance of this is the consequences of their failed leadership. And again, I don't live at the Hotel Bel Air. I don't live in the Airstream. I don't live in the Santa Barbara. I don't have a house. They burned it down. That is why I got into this race, because of these people that will burn your house down and act like it's no problem. So this idea that anyone's like, oh, he's at a hotel. I'm at a hotel because these psychopaths are messaging me every day. They're going to kill me because Nithya Raman is calling me a fascist because I don't want people to have their kids next to drug addicts at the park or stepping in human poop when you get your matcha. I have common sense. That's not fascism. So these psychos here, I'm a fascist, and then they literally, like, if you would like to see the death threats, I can send them all offline where people are like, I'm going to hire people to kill you. So yes, unfortunately, now I have a security team, and they will not, even if I wanted to stay in the Airstream, would let me, because there's 360 unobstructed views since there's no houses. So you can literally snipe me out from any part from 300 yards away easily.
Spencer,
one sec. Not to mention the Airstream, it took over a month for LADWP to connect a wire for electricity to it, which was 3 days ago. It took weeks to get the water hooked up, which was yesterday. So for these people that want to focus on where I sleep at night, first off, I don't even sleep. I get 4 hours of sleep because I'm fighting these corrupt freaking politicians all day long.
And by the way, what TMZ was really upset about wasn't where he lays his head at night. It's this.
New polling showing political outsider, former reality TV star Spencer Pratt making huge strides in this race for LA mayor. The independent candidate gaining 12 points since March, now trailing Democrat incumbent Karen Bass by single digits. Pratt's campaign in next month's primary gaining traction with voters. He highlights LA's homelessness crisis and failed leadership. He does it very artfully with a ton of social media and some pretty powerful ads. I think have really helped this race for him quite a bit. Uphill battle in LA, to be sure.
Oh, yeah, but did TMZ punching down to the guy who's climbing up. When we come back, hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program, getting power, learning power has to be used, not just one. Big wake-up call for the GOP next. Good for him. He's like, you want to do a hit piece on me staying over at the Hotel Bel Air? It's the closest hotel to me. What am I going to stay in a Motel 6? And I guarantee the hotels in that area have got to give them reduced room rates. Can you imagine he's got to pay to be a vagabond? He's basically a hobo. And Heidi, thank God, have the kids. And they're going, I guess they're getting schooled in Carpinteria, but they live sometime in Santa Barbara, and they bounce from place to place. Can you imagine living like you're on a perennial, never-ending soccer tournament, right? So you load up everything in your car, but you never get to go home because there's no home. It's just all the crap in your car. That's all you've got. All the clothes that you have, you had to go buy. All of the grooming products you have, you had to go buy. Oh, because it went when your house burned to the ground. And TMZ is bitching that he's staying in a hotel, the Hotel Bel Air. Really? Go find Nancy Guthrie, you turd. I'm a little fussy today. Brock's over there. He's like, okay.
I'm just going to sit here. Shop for my ghost bed.
Oh, are you doing it?
I'm going to go home and have to probably look at my bed. I mean, and someone says, you sniper. I do, but like there's only... So...
Is it like the hydraulics of it?
It's the... So there's an air hose that goes into the bed. Well, the air hose lets air in and moisture.
I'm sure it's perfectly fine after 10 years.
And so, what, every month I'm going to have to spray my bed down for... What is it, ghostbed.com? There goes Kate's anniversary.
Ghostbed.com /
Happy anniversary. You're not going to get moldy.
It's so sexy. How you doing? We're going to mitigate some mold problems right now.
You said this. Which one am I getting? The hybrid, you said?
You get you. I don't know.
No, I'm saying, what
how
did you like?
Sleep. I like the hybrid, but you do you. All right, I want to talk to you guys about the healthy fat. According to activating a specific process inside of your body, by activating a specific process in your body that's triggered by this, a scoop of this. Sorry.
Bless.
Excuse me. I find it interesting that Dr. Gundry, who's a cardiothoracic surgeon. So he does pediatric heart transplants. Can you imagine? Here's somebody's heart. Oh, here's a new one. Like, he's like, you know what? I'm feeling a little tubby. So with all of his spare time, he's like, let's do some research. And so he does some research and he's like, I think I've developed or I've identified a chemical reaction. What? He's like, yeah, if you drink this, the chemical reaction is flip a switch inside of your body and all of a sudden dump all of these calories that you don't need, but your body likes to hold on to, like squirrels holding on nuts. In the wintertime, I don't want you holding on to my calories. Get rid of them. That's what this does, while simultaneously crushing your appetite. And it's super delicious. This is the watermelon lemonade. Now, I like fake watermelon flavor stuff. Like, I love Jolly Ranchers. I love, like, watermelon Hubba Bubba. I would eat that all day long if my face didn't, fall off because it gets hard. But watermelon lemonade, so tasty. It's very good. This is what people are using to lose 70, 80, 100 pounds. I'm serious. You drink this instead of eating a meal, watch what happens. Thehealthyfat.com / Wendy. Thehealthyfat.com / Wendy. And I've looked at Dr. Gundry recently and I'm like, dude is timeless. He's I don't know what he's doing, but he lost 70 pounds drinking that. And he said he has seen thousands of patients with the exact same results. Like, holy cow. So while I don't have 70 pounds to lose, I'd like to not have a muffin top. So that's good. Right? Little things. Little goals in life, guys. It's what it is. How's everybody? You guys killing it? Maybe not. Let's see. All right.
Oh, the split is the only one you can get in the...
This hair is ridiculous. The split is the only one you can what?
You can only get it in the king size.
Sorry, guys. I'm struggling with heat and out of control, something or other going on over here. Oh, and that's just so much better, right? So much less distracting. Look at that.
I look at these prices.
Yeah.
12 years ago, I paid over $4,000 for my bed.
Yeah.
So, like the queen adjustable combo bundle,
Mm-hmm.
$2,900.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, I just kicked out my ear thing. What'd you say?
$2,900.
I know. And then put Rumble or Wendy in there as the promo code.
Okay, let's add the card.
Now I'm all ready for you. How are you doing?
Oh, it's just giving me the Memorial Day sale, which is save up to 50%.
What?
Yeah, so don't use the Wendy code.
Hey! Really?
It's not even letting me.
What? Now I'm annoyed. Hold on. ghostbed.com/Wendy. Haha. Hello, Wendy Bell fans. All right, I'm going to add something to my save up to 50.
Oh, maybe I do this.
You have to check out with
I
it.
didn't /Wendy.
And we're all waiting.
Same price. Oh no, $2,600.
What had it been?
$29.
Seems like it would be a 10% discount.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Do you think you could get used to not winning? Do you think you could get used to losing? Do you believe that you could get to a state of mind where you would just accept always losing because that's just always how it's been and that's just how it is, and you accept that and you're like, well, I guess that's just the way it is. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. No, that's not how we're programmed. We're not programmed to go to school to lose, to be average, to be nothing. You go every step of your life, every day that you turn the page of the calendar. It's building and growing and getting better and making mistakes and figuring it out, carving out your lane, unless you're a member of the Republican Party and you happen to be elected to office and you happen to be one of the members of Congress, right? Then it's just like, well, you know, we're really comfortable being the underdog and basically always losing. I'm tired of that. And so is President Trump. And, you know, this whole MAGA idea, it's interesting. Devin Nunes told Maria Bartiromo in October, we just played you the audio in the last hour. He was like, nobody knew. Nobody thought Donald Trump was going to win. I did. Didn't you? Why not? What did we have to lose? We didn't. You could tell in a heartbeat how Donald Trump felt about this country. The same way you could tell in a heartbeat when Spencer Pratt opens his mouth. I didn't grow up saying, I can't wait to grow up to be the mayor of Los Angeles, right? But he found himself in a circumstance where he believes there is a need and a calling. And Donald Trump felt the same way. And so many of us who've been tired of freaking losing, who've been tired of watching 2-bit-0 Democrats who are corrupt and, quite frankly, not very bright at all, lie to us day after day. and stage their fake outrage and their stupid coordinated outfits. And then there was Nancy Pelosi, the head of the party, chewing on her cud, wearing her white outfit, tearing up the State of the Union. We're like, dang, this is real. These are the people? These are the people who think they should run our country? Hell no. See, this whole idea that Republicans are feeling a taste of victory, they're getting a grip on power. It's one thing to have it. It's another thing to use it. I'm so tired of useless, do-nothing Republicans. There's a reason why Rush Limbaugh called them Republicans in name only, rhinos, right? Because you can have that stamp next to your name. There I am. But what do you do with it? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. I want to read you this from Revolver News. It's a great little article before we flash back in time and go back to Tennessee. You know, these map wars, this is an article at Revolver News. I love them. The map wars just took a very interesting turn, and it's causing a lot more trouble for Dems. Well, Democrats have treated redistricting like their private little rigged machine. And you know what? It has been, by and large. That's the case. They know how to work the courts, weaponize race, pressure states to do their dirty work, and turn map making into a political weapon while pretending it's all about precious democracy, right? Well, it's been a great ride for the left, but finally the rigged machine is running on fumes. The Supreme Court's recent Louisiana decision gave states more room to push back against race-based map drawing. And now Democrats are suddenly facing this totally different looking battlefield. And the old playbook isn't working the way it used to. And right now, in states like Tennessee, Republicans aren't standing around with their thumbs up their rears for kind of a nice change of pace. They're actually fighting back hard when Democrats throw stunts and tantrums, right? Like, who could forget this tantrum Dems threw on the Senate floor in Tennessee? The Democrats turning the state Senate into a WWE audition. A Democrat senator climbing on top of a table, getting into a literal tug of war with the sergeant at arms over a Stop the Steal banner she brought in. You know, decorum matters, but apparently not there. It didn't. That woman lost the banner. She lost the vote. Tennessee still passed the map. And the same people lecturing America about threats to democracy are now suddenly disrespectfully jumping on furniture, screaming during legislative sessions. And what happened to them? They got slapped. Those Tennessee Democrats got stripped of all of their committee assignments for this. Let's just listen in to the bullhorn. You can imagine that woman wearing the schmedium dress that she should have been wearing an XL. And she's like, "Rah!" As you know, you've got some quack on the floor lighting a Confederate flag on fire. Let's listen in because this is what it sounded like. Can you imagine if those are your colleagues? You're a Republican in Tennessee. Those are your colleagues. Right? How much do you want to throat punch somebody and throw them down the stairs for that? Well, they got stripped of all their committee assignments. And then, of course, those people claimed racism. No, see, your blackness does not give you cover for acting like a jerk. So take a seat, sweetie bug. And by the way, the next time you get into the face of a state police trooper and you call him boy, and you call him an MFer, yeah, you're going to lose a lot more than your committee assignments. Somebody should have socked that guy in the face. How dare you, Justin, whatever your face is. Well, it's no time for rhinos, ladies and gentlemen. That's the battle cry going on across the country, especially in the South. Did you hear South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster is now calling for a special session to force the redistricting past the rhino holdouts in South Carolina to basically carve out toxic race baiter James Clyburn. There were 5 Republicans that were like, yeah, I don't really think that's what we want to do. We don't want to redistrict. No, we do. We do. And if you don't want to, that's fine. We'll carve you out. Thank God for McMaster. He's like, well, you know what? We're going to call a special session. We're going to redraw the South Carolina House map. Here's the story from Politico. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster expected to announce a special session on redistricting, teeing up the state legislature to pass a Republican gerrymander that would almost certainly cost Democratic Rep. Jim Clyburn his seat in this year's midterms. The seat was created by a racially unfair advantage. So suck it and step aside. Way to go, Henry. I appreciate you. Wait a minute, Georgia. No, sirree. You mean to tell me that Brian Kemp, the biggest dope Republican of them all, he also has officially called a special session? Now, it's in part to redistrict the state's congressional maps by the 2028 election, which could result in 2 blue seats being fully wiped out, leaving Georgia 11 Republicans to 3 Democrats in Congress. Here's a news report with the breaking news, and I love it.
In an extremely rare move, Governor Brian Kemp is calling lawmakers back to the Capitol for a special session.
It is to address some outstanding election issues, mainly a fast-approaching July 1st deadline set by Georgia's legislators. Atlanta News first political reporter Doug Reardon is live for us at the Capitol. Doug, what will lawmakers have on their plates when they arrive back?
And that will happen, Carly and Joe, at 2 o'clock on June 17th. That is the date that was set for the start of this very rare, exceedingly rare, in fact, special election. And they will be dealing with some outstanding election issues. That July 1st deadline that you mentioned is top of the list. That is when those QR codes that we have on our ballots right now that are used to tabulate our votes become illegal. And that was something that actually the legislature imposed on themselves a couple of years ago when they passed that bill in 2024, setting that deadline. It followed a lot of skepticism about QR codes and fears over the security of that method, but lawmakers wrapped up this session here a few months ago without picking a replacement method for counting votes all this time later, and that created worries about how we would count ballots in the upcoming November midterms. Keep in mind, we still do not have a way to do that, and so Kemp said lawmakers will address it during that special session. And, of course, after that Supreme Court decision last month that banned racial gerrymandering, they may also redraw Georgia's congressional maps for 2028. We have a presidential election that year. It is something Republicans badly want to do and something Democrats fear will dilute the votes of many minority communities.
Wow, congratulations, Brian Kemp. Before you slither out of office, you're going to allow them to do something by 2028. What a guy. So it looks like these new maps will be created for Georgia, but you already know the catch, right? There's no way they'll get finished in time for this cycle. What do they do? Like when you're in charge, when you have a governor, when you have a legislature, when you have a body, when you have a majority, what the hell do Republicans do with it? Well, in Georgia, apparently not enough and not quickly enough. Potential Georgia map after redistricting, the current has 9 Republicans and 5 Democrats, but it could change to 11 Republicans and 3 Democrats. God forbid we want it now. Brian and everybody else there who sucks. What's the holdup? See, it's one thing when MAGA speaks and rhinos sleep. This is what this whole MAGA revolution is. This is the revenge tour. We're so tired of you. It's not even funny. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Eric Swalwell's sugar daddy gets pinched by the fuzz. I had so much fun writing that. Oh, it's sad. I'll tell you all about it next. Oh, getting pinched by the fuzz. Why is it that all of these goons think that they're important and then they do dumb stuff and break the law and get arrested? Like, you suck. You sent me something?
Sent you a couple.
You sent me a
but
couple.
You'll really like the last part. It's nice to be able to say someone's been pinched by the fuzz when it's not you.
Yes. Yes, it's true. I've been fuzzified a few times.
Yeah.
Champ-Bergy just published the exact list of what they agreed on about Iran and Hormuz. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, Brock.
No. Read the next one.
Stop. Hold on. U.S. Supreme Court, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Has ruled 9-0 that freight brokers can be held liable if they negligently hire unsafe trucking companies, including those with illegal alien and foreign drivers who violate CDL rules and cause accidents. Oh, I don't know, like flipping a bitch on a freaking turnpike?
Well, newsflash, if they aren't going to react, then you're not going to do it through the legal system.
We'll take away all of your money. We'll bankrupt you.
We're going to bankrupt
We're going to
you.
bankrupt you and give all of your money to the families of the people whose loved ones died needlessly because you suck. Thank you very much.
That's one way to get rid of them.
We'll be here all week. Right? I mean, like, I agree with Brock.
What?
I agree with you that it's not that complicated. Oh, stop it. Disinfectwithsniper.com, you guys. Disinfectwithsniper.com. There are new wonderful organic fertilizers that I think you guys are going to really like. For fruits and vegetables, azaleas, rhodies, roses, flowering bushes. These smell like fish. I will tell you, I sprinkled some and mixed it in with my soil. Very fishy, which leads me to believe it's got some secret omega-3 fatty acids in it, which are phenomenal. And I'm so excited because I have new landscaping and I have not nourished it the way I should. And so when our friend put this out at disinfectwithsniper.com, and you can bundle them together and save huge bucks. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Remember, this is the site of the best antibacterial, antimicrobial, hospital-grade disinfectant that is safe enough that you could squirt it in your mouth and be perfectly fine. You could spray it in your dog's eye and he'd be like, what are you doing? But it's not going to hurt him, right? Your kids can crawl around on the floor. Nobody's getting sick. Beautiful, wonderful company. Love, love, love them. Disinfectwithsniper.com. So you could get, if you wanted, you could get the Harmony, which is the organic
And there's two
insect
Harmonies.
control. There's this, and there's also one for mosquitoes.
Well, there's three then. There's the mosquito one. There's that's for your plants. And then there's the one that will leave residue to kill
Other bugs.
But you don't want the residue on your plants. So that's why they came up with this.
I just love them. Love, love, love. I did that to Murphy today.
What?
I'm not so sure you liked my coffee breath. He was so cute. He came right up to me and I went all over his face. And he was like, Then he turned around because he wanted me to scratch his butt. Why does they always want me to scratch his butt? Is that all that dogs want?
I think.
Is it to scratch my butt? I don't know. I don't scratch my butt. Do you?
I don't scratch your butt either. But why would I scratch your butt?
That is
shower.
That is
You
so
don't have to
not.
scratch
That
your
was
butt
so
then.
not what I was talking about.
Well, if you would just shower, you wouldn't have to scratch
I
your
don't
butt.
have to scratch my butt. That's what I was saying. I don't understand why he likes having his butt scratched. Maybe because he can't reach it.
I don't know. Has anyone ever scratched your butt? Maybe you don't know that you like it.
No. Nobody has scratched my butt before.
No.
What are we doing here? What are you talking about?
I don't know. You're talking about scratching people's butts.
All right, let's talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's funny. It's really not funny when billionaires or millionaires or really super rich people, they come out of the shadows to gab about something that they think is really important. And then they get pinched for doing something stupid and illegal. And I had to laugh at this because this is sort of like, I don't know, Eric Swalwell's, what's his name? Kevin Morris. The lawyer guy who bankrolls Hunter Biden and allegedly bought some of his crappy artwork for way too much money, right? This is that guy. His name is Stephen Klubeck. This is the guy that Eric Swalwell would he'd record all of his little videos inside this billionaire's house. Like how these two got connected, I don't know, but he got himself busted. And I thought it was kind of fun. Sort of like on the police blotter, why not? New York Post, billionaire Dem donor Stephen Klubeck is arrested in LA weeks after turning his back on Eric Swalwell. Like if you're going to give $1 million to somebody for his whatever, do you do a little bit of research? I mean, heck, I spent $50,000 on a new roof, right? I did a lot of research on that roof. $1 million and you don't know Eric Swalwell's past? Stephen Klubeck, you schmuck. Okay, here we go. Billionaire Stephen Klubeck was arrested Tuesday for a felony charge of attempting to prevent or dissuade a victim or witness from testifying. We call that witness tampering. I'm not so sure you're allowed to do that. Oh, that's right, you're not. West Hollywood deputies arrested Klubeck after he turned himself in following a warrant issued for his arrest. The Post can confirm he was released on a $300,000 bond. That's pretty big. At 1:17 Tuesday, after being held there since about 11 a.m. that day. Circumstances surrounding the charges are unclear, or where the warrant was issued out of. If convicted of the felony charge, Klubeck faces up to 4 years in prison. Well, what on earth could he be doing? What are you doing, Stephen? Right? Is it not enough that you were aghast? He came out, he was aghast. That Eric Swalwell, he did what? Women accuse my BFF, who I gave 7 figures to, cause that he drugged them and allegedly raped them? What? What could this possibly be? I don't know. Klubeck, who's the former CEO of Diamond Resorts International, is also known for sheltering Eric Swalwell as he dealt with the backlash of his sexual misconduct scandal. He then booted Swalwell out. This wasn't because he all of a sudden was like, I believe all women. I believe in women. He's like, uh-oh, this dude is now toxic and I need to distance myself from him. Can we just get decent people? You know who you don't hear stories like this about? Tim Burchett, Ron Johnson, right? You don't hear a whole lot of like scandalous, wacky stuff about some people, most people. But you do around this whole Democrat apparatus. He says, I'm no longer associated with a man that takes advantage of women. Like you didn't know that? I support women's rights. I find this to be very peculiar because Stephen Klubeck invited Eric Swalwell into his 9,700 square foot mansion. And he allowed him to sit there and shoot videos around his priceless, art collection. Here you go. And then he gets arrested for trying to tamper with a witness to get them to testify in a way that was what? Not correct. It's almost like everything in this world is off. And you look at your silly little pedestrian domestic life, feels sort of dull. Isn't it wonderful? Don't you love it? Isn't it lovely to be able to walk outside? Maybe you've got a little bit of land, go cut your grass, right? Live, fly under the radar, do whatever you do, make a meal with your family. These people are so far removed from what goes on here in everyday USA. And it's baffling to me that there are so many people who do so many things that are so wrong and never get caught. And you and I are just seriously trying to make it work. To make it work. I don't know. This is why we crave people like Spencer Pratt. This is why people like Harriet Hageman can roll onto the scene in Wyoming and beat the snot out of the fake two-faced fake rhino, Liz Cheney. This is why we starve for a communicator like a Marco Rubio, who can, on a dime, be able to, in 45 seconds, say something that makes you say, yeah, that. I want that. This is why we give a whole lot of leeway to the weave that is President Trump. Because at the end of the day, I don't doubt what he's doing. I don't doubt what he says. I don't doubt how he's deciding to do things for this country. I don't doubt. We need more of that. And less billionaire blowhardia. Please. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, it's preposterous, I know. China rolls out the red carpet for President Trump. And apparently what the two presidents have already agreed on regarding Iran. Oh my, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Swalwell's backstabbing former BFF now facing his own charges. But we can't get Tony Fauci.
You know how Ron Johnson and Tim Burchett are clean? because they're going after the deep state. They're calling out big things, and there's no storage. What do you do when you call something out? What happens in DC? You start seeing hit pieces on people.
Oh yeah.
You know, you started disagreeing with the
That's why Spencer
Democrats.
Pratt, he's staying at the Hotel Bel Air.
Well, John Fetterman,
Yeah.
prime example.
He's seen walking around talking to himself. He could be a
Madison-
threat to democracy.
Madison Cawthorn.
He started talking about orgies and drugs, and they're like, wah, wah.
Time for this cat to go. Yeah.
George Santos. He had his own issues, right? Don't get me wrong. He's, I don't think morally speaking, perhaps the top of the heap, but he apologized for what he did and paid his price. He was serving time. Trump got him out, and now he's a truth teller. Okay. Matt Gaetz. I see it. I know you guys do. All right. Where are we?
Get to the binder.
Huh?
The binder.
Oh, yes. Let's see. Who do we want to talk about?
You didn't catch it on fire today, did you?
No, but I did munch it. I sure did. Look at that. You see how it's all munched? That melted?
Well, that's because you had it too close to the.
I sure did. 100%. You know why? One of the things I've watched, Brock didn't really ever get too fussy with it, which was interesting. But I know that my husband, when he lost a good chunk of weight, I mean, Brock lost a lot more. But I remember watching Joe get frustrated because he would plateau. You would lose weight, and then you've got like a 5-day plateau. And you're like, what's going on? I haven't changed. Like, I didn't all of a sudden start eating cheeseburgers. Why am I not moving the needle? I should continue to lose weight. That plateau can be a real mind twister when you're trying to lose weight. This is what I love about GLP-1 Gold. This is a product offered by Juvenon, the people behind Blood Flow 7. And this is that product that nudges you and moves that needle on the scale for you. This is a dietary supplement that naturally communicates with your brain and triggers that hormone called GLP-1, which the shots are all about artificially triggering by pushing this into your system. You get your brain and your gut to start communicating. You start eating less. You don't get hungry as much. You don't have cravings. You're not guided by it. It really crushes that. That's how so many people have lost such significant weight. This is a kinder, gentler, slower process, same dramatic weight loss results, just over a longer period of time. And so this is something that you can take every day, and it does not break the bank. I have no idea what Mounjaro, Wegovy, or Ozempic cost, but it ain't this. This is like $1 a day with our 30% discount at bloodflow7.com/Wendy. It's called the GLP-1 Gold. That's the hormone, and that's what gets those two to start talking. And you'll stop eating as much, and you'll start losing weight. And then that needle starts to move again, and you're like, all right, what a great thing to add to your tool box, if you will, of weight loss and health. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy, always /Wendy. 30% off GLP-1 Gold. It's everything that they have is 30% off with our discount code, which is just bonkers. Ooh, I got to do a little health revolution later. All right. So here we'll be able to read what. Ooh, we've got Brock. We made $260 with Crescent Mountain Coffee.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Got to figure out something to do with that. We love our coffee blend at crescentmountaincoffee.com. It's literally, I'm going to tell you, it's the best coffee I've had. And it's not because my name is on it. It's we had nothing to do with it. Jim Dignan from Crescent Mountain did it all. Went to the FDA, got it all approved. We have our own signature blends of coffee. They're phenomenal. And we get 10% off of every bag.
I just started a 501c for myself for a ghost bed.
And so we like to give that to somebody. We've done that successfully. So just something to think about. Something to think about. Are you serious about the ghost bed?
After seeing that this morning, I'm gonna this weekend I'm gonna tear my bed apart and see.
It's scary. You don't want to know. You do want to know. It's sort of like, I didn't want to know until I saw the rain coming in. Can we get to 2.5? We got 5,000 almost here on Rumble. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome and thank you. Hit the follow button. Please do that. We send you notifications once a day, and that's just when we go live. That's it. We don't collect any data. I'm not going to bother you. We're not going to reach out, but that helps us so much. We also have that locals page. That's the red button. If you hit that, that costs $5 a month, but we only charge you for 10, not 12 months. And you get access to the every single day rundown before we even go on the air. That's a huge risk. Like anybody could rip off our show and just put it out there as their own. But I want you to be able to have all of the access. And there's some critical stuff in here today. Some studies and stuff you probably want to see. It's good to dance, get the hips in it, get the hands moving. We have a lot of good stuff to celebrate. So we're off the this big tour for President Trump to take this trip over to China to meet with President Xi. And apparently, if you read in whatever the president writes about, it's always very positive. You know, I appreciate that. And I think that there's obviously some degree of sunshine selling that goes into his truths and his lugubriously stunning, oozing compliments that he gives to people. But I believe that in general, this president is very positive. He's a very, very optimistic. Let's get it done. Why? What's the obstacle? What's holding us back? Let's figure it out. Let's fix the problem. That's this guy. That's this mentality. And I don't think this president believes that there's anything that we, the people of the United States of America, can achieve together. And I appreciate that. We didn't get that vibe over the last 4 years. We got that cold, dictatorial, edict, finger waving. Remember Joe Biden with the red drapes behind him, or the lights, the red lights, when he looked like Hitler, and he's like, "Rrr." And we're like, yo, what the heck is that? And it's going to be a dark, cold winter of death. And we're like, other than that, what's going on with you, President Biden? I mean, that's literally... We came off of battered American syndrome. For 4 years, we were told we weren't good enough. We weren't fast enough. We didn't pay enough. We didn't do enough. We didn't work hard enough, right? Aren't you tired of that? When was ever a time in the Biden administration where they came out and like, you're doing great. There's this great thing that's going to come on the horizon and we're working towards it together. I've seen it and we're going to make it happen. And you're going to see things and your wildest dreams will come true and your face will melt off and it'll be like, you didn't even get an iota of that. You got all doom and gloom. It's all Donald Trump's fault, right? And you're a bad person. This president goes out and he's like, you know, I'm super jazzed to be meeting with this cat. I mean, in all circumstances, China is our enemy. So is this keep your friends close and your enemies closer? Or does this president really want to create some kind of a deal with the other major superpower of the world and say, hey, let's make the super friends, right? We've already seen the Legion of Doom. We know who all those cats are. And I'm kind of on the fence about that, you know, because China's human rights track record really sucks. People in China don't have rights. And those who are treated like slaves, I got problems with that. This president is like, look, we got time to work out nuance. We got to figure some stuff out. We got to squeeze China. Well, Brock just sent me this. It's an update of what's happened. And I'm going to play for you the pomp and circumstance of the president even being there in China. Such a difference from Barack Obama. Barack Obama rolled up and they didn't even bring out the big stairs. You know, nobody brought out the big stairs. They rolled out like the little step ladder. And he came out of the bowels of Air Force One the way Joe Biden did down the kiddie steps because he couldn't make it with his orthopedic shoes. Right. And there was no the Xi wasn't there. There wasn't some red carpet. There weren't kids. In fact, Brock, let's start with this. I want you to imagine in your mind, here's Air Force One, blue and white. There it is. Glorious of aircraft that it is. There's this magnificent red carpet that's laid out. The president of China, he's there waiting for him. It's not like some guy who's his right-hand dude. It's President Xi. And then they create this thing that they walk under. It's like a pagoda. It's like a Chinese, whatever it's called. And then there's this magnificent orchestra that plays the national anthem, our national anthem, President Trump saluting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, goosebumps. What you're hearing now, you're going to hear all these little kids. These are little, beautiful Chinese children with these things that, that they're holding and they're waving in the air and they're jumping up and down and they're all saying, welcome, 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 welcome. That I could tell, right? That's what they're telling me, he says. But this is the vibe at touchdown, okay? Oh my gosh. I mean, you don't get that. Donald Trump has put America back on the map. We are number one. We are it. Everybody wants it. Everybody knows we're hot. Everybody wants in on the President Trump style of leadership. Why? What is that? It's breaking through the garbage. It's getting past the red tape. It's working together, doing what everybody's like, we can't do that. That's not possible. And this guy's like, do it. Do it yesterday, do it under budget, and now. And they roll out this carpet. I want you to hear what President Trump, his first words to President Xi were. And this is them sitting at a rectangular table. This is like before they're supposed to just, have some chats, these bilateral chats. And I don't think this is anything scripted, but this is how this president exudes his warmth for this president who he hopes is going to be doing wonderful things with America. Listen.
Well, President Xi, I want to thank you very much. First of all, that was an honor like few have ever seen before. And I think I was particularly impressed by those children. They were happy. They were beautiful. The military is obvious. It couldn't be better, but those children were amazing and they represent so much. And I know they represent so much to you. You and I have known each other now for a long time. In fact, the longest relationship of our two countries that any president and president has had. And that's, to me, an honor. We've had a fantastic relationship. We've gotten along. When there were difficulties, we worked it out. I would call you and you would call me. And whenever we had a problem, people don't know, whenever we had a problem, we worked that out very quickly. We're going to have a fantastic future together. Such respect for China, the job you've done. You're a great leader. I say it to everybody. You're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true. I only say the truth. And I just want to say on behalf of all of the great delegation that we have the greatest businessmen, the biggest, and I guess the best in the world. We have amazing people, and they're all with me. Every single one of them, we asked the top 30 in the world, every single one of them said yes. And I didn't want the second or the third in the company. I wanted only the top. And they're here today to pay respects to you and to China. And they look forward to trade and doing business. And it's going to be totally reciprocal on our behalf. So I really look very much forward to our discussion. It's a big discussion. There are those that say this is maybe the biggest summit ever. They can never remember anything like it. I can say in the United States, people aren't talking about anything else.
but it's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be your friend, and the relationship between China and the USA is going to be better than ever before. Thank you very much. Thank you.
How does that set the table to you, do you think? It sets it pretty good. Thank you. I am humbled to be here in your company, this president says, and he is gobsmacked by the beautiful children. Tells you a lot about the individual. Here's President Xi with his first words to President Trump.
Today, President Trump and I had in-depth exchanges on China-US relations and international and regional dynamics. We both believe that the China-US relationship is the most important bilateral relationship in the world. We must make it work and never mess it up. Both China and the United States stand to gain from cooperation and lose from confrontation. Our two countries should be partners rather than rivals. President Trump and I also agreed to build a constructive China-US relationship of strategic stability to promote the steady, sound, and sustainable development of China-US relations and bring more peace, prosperity, and progress to the world.
Oh my gosh, the left has to be hating this. This is what the White House put out as its one sheet. President Trump had a good meeting with President Xi of China. The two sides discussed ways to enhance economic cooperation between our two countries, including expanding market access for American business into China and increasing Chinese investment into our industries. Leaders from many of the United States' largest companies joined a portion of the meeting. The presidents also highlighted the need to build on progress in ending the flow of fentanyl precursors into the United States, as well as increasing Chinese purchase of American agricultural products. The two sides agreed that the Strait of Hormuz must remain open to support the free flow of energy. President Xi also made clear China's opposition to the militarization of the strait and any effort to charge a toll for its use, and he expressed interest in purchasing more American oil to reduce China's dependence on the strait in the future. Both countries agreed that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. I want you to hear this. Rebecca Grant, she is a national security expert over at Fox, and she's like, look, this president has cards in his hand. He's playing them right. There's a total tone shift from their last meeting. And Trump has really put the squeeze here on China's need for oil.
What a turnabout from a year ago where China was threatening critical minerals license exports. Now we've got the U.S. Navy in the Strait of Hormuz, Venezuela out of the picture, and Trump having arrived with an incredible display of American tech power. Keyword there, I think, China agreeing that Iran should not have a toll booth in the strait. Now, are they going to do anything concrete to help? I doubt it. But it looks like Trump has put some pressure on China vis-a-vis Iran. Don't forget, China supported Iran's terror regime with oil purchases for so long. I'm glad to see that perhaps turning around.
Yeah. Rebecca Grant, there is not wrong. The two presidents just published what is being reported as the exact list of what they agreed on about Iran and the strait. And these really aren't vague summaries, not productive talks, but named commitments. You ready? U.S. companies get expanded access to Chinese markets. They signed off on that. China increases investment into the United States. China cracks down harder on fentanyl flowing into America. China buys more agricultural products. The Hormuz Strait stays open. Both sides committed to that in writing. China explicitly opposes militarization of the strait. They oppose anyone charging tolls to pass through it. They will buy more American oil specifically to reduce their own dependence on the Hormuz route. Both sides agree Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. 9 named commitments, 0 quantitative targets in the readout, 0 new enforcement board creating here. No, there's not some board that's going to oversee this. These two presidents are on this. Every point on the list exists because Brent crude hit $113 a barrel after the U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran. Prices got to go down. It's got to go down fast. China needs the oil. Their gas price is like, what, $20 a gallon right now? Two sides saying, this is a great opportunity for us to work together. What do you say? What do you think? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, about that really, really nice cheap TV you think that Walmart's selling, I've got something for you that might make your face melt off next. I heard Brock read it this morning and he went, oh, and then I heard my phone go bing, and I was like, oh no. And then I read it and I was like, oh, so now I'm going to tell it to you guys and see what you think. All right.
I think the oil thing is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, we buy from China. We buy their goods. If it costs them that much to ship.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine China buying Venezuelan oil from America?
They're going to go. I read that they're going to go to Alaska.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's fascinating. Fascinating. We got a president who's playing some chess, and he's well ahead of the rest of us. I want to talk to you about Health Revolution. You know, just like Uber changed the taxi business and Airbnb changed the hotel industry, I have to say I think that Health Revolution is truly changing health insurance protection for you and your family. And it's about time. It's about time. For how much we spend and how little service we get, Health Revolution hears you, and they're offering you something, an opportunity that grab a pen, or if you're on the computer, just plug this into your whatever toolbar. info.healthrevolution.net. info.healthrevolution.net. Did you know that Cigna, major insurance carriers, announced they're going to be exiting the Obamacare marketplace next year? And that means thousands and thousands of people who have that insurance are all going to be left high and dry. What are you going to do? If you're under the age of 65 and you're in pretty good health, moderately good health, right? You could save hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars each month with a private health insurance plan with Health Revolution. Why would you pay for benefits that you don't need? Why do you pay for coverage? It's not like your cable bill where everything's bundled. You shouldn't have bundled healthcare where you're paying out the nose for stuff that you don't need. This is where you are the one who dictates this policy, not the government. And that is why info.healthrevolution.net is such a pivotal place for you to bookmark. Why pay for benefits you don't use? Tired of chasing a high deductible, right? On your health insurance plan. You could use any doctor. No copays, low deductible. You choose your doctors. How about that? And that's for real. That's not the bull crap they told you. That's for real. 800-868-6187. 800-868-6187. info.healthrevolution.net. This is a game changer. And there's no open enrollment period. It's when you want to. I mean, how about one thing in our life actually working for us that we get bent over and reamed to pay for? It's my process. But then what do I know?
We're canning the one.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with all of this. I mean, I don't trust China anymore. I mean, they have farmland. They've got their stupid spy balloons. They've got their foreign students pretending to work and send money back to the country. All of their people are spies. They've got a spy on Americans. That's what they do.
So does America.
Right? I mean, Eric Swalwell was banging one, for heaven's sakes. But other than that, I've got nothing. This is a scary story that Brock sent to me. Now,
why do you keep blaming me?
I will tell you, I don't know if it's true, but I think it is, because this is all, it's all documented. It's wild. So we're going to tell you this about Walmart. Sorry, Demanda. She doesn't care. She works for the man. You could come work for this man. Gosh, this morning at the crack of smack, Brock and I both were like, what? Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Here's how it goes. Walmart is apparently selling you a pretty unprofitable television that watches everything you do and reports it back to their $6.4 billion advertising machine. I'm getting this from a guy on Twitter. And you're like, some guy on Twitter is saying this. Yeah, it's some guy on Twitter, but I'm going to tell you, the granular detail makes you go, And the TV literally won't turn on until you give them permission. This is one of the most sophisticated consumer surveillance operations in history, reportedly. And 150 million people walk into Walmart stores every single week with no idea that it's happening. Here's the story. In December 2024, Walmart bought Vizio for $2.3 billion. Everybody assumed it was about selling more televisions, but it had nothing to do with TVs. Vizio's TV hardware business was actually losing money, posting a $6.7 million loss in its final quarter as an independent company. The advertising division made about $115.8 million in profit that same quarter, but the TV hardware business was losing money. So Walmart bought 19 million living rooms, not a TV company. This is how this works. In March 2026, Walmart flipped the switch. Every new Vizio television now requires a mandatory Walmart account before you can access any of the smart features. No account, no streaming apps. Without signing in, your TV is therefore useless. The moment you create that account, something called automatic content recognition activates. ACR runs silently in the background, taking screenshots of everything displayed on your screen, and then comparing them against a database to identify exactly what you're watching second by second across 700 TV networks and over 100 streaming apps. Say what? It knows what you watched. It knows when you watched it. It knows how long you watched it. And it knows what you did afterward. Now, here's the part that makes this genuinely unprecedented in the history of retail. Walmart already knows what 150 million Americans buy every week. They know your grocery habits, your clothing preferences, your pharmacy purchases, your financial behavior through Walmart Pay, and your location data from the app. But what they couldn't see was the 4 to 6 hours a day that Americans spend staring at their TV screens. By connecting your Walmart account to your Vizio TV, they've now closed that loop. They can now prove that you saw a 30-second ad for gardening soil Sunday night and bought that exact same brand at Walmart Monday morning. L'Oreal has already signed on to launch as a partner for this kind of targeting. The math on it is totally crazy. Walmart Connect, their advertising arm, generated $6.4 billion last year with 46% year-over-year growth. Advertising runs at 70 to 90% profit margins compared to traditional retail's 3 to 4%. The CFO admitted their ads and membership fees already account for 1/3 of Walmart's total operating income. The advertising business is now more important to Walmart's bottom line than entire product categories in their stores, and they're just getting started. Analysts calculated that Walmart's ad revenue currently represents only 1% of total sales. Their ad business runs at 8% of sales. The gap between where Walmart is and where Amazon is represents roughly $50 billion in untapped advertising revenue. The Vizio deal is the bridge to get there. That's why they're selling certain TVs at a loss. So when you break down the $2.3 billion acquisition across 19 million households, Walmart paid $121 per living room. A lifetime of behavioral viewing data from a household that also shops at Walmart is worth infinitely more than that. The cheap TV is the Trojan horse. Vizio has already been fined $2.2 million by the FTC for secretly collecting viewing data on 11 million TVs without consent. The company that built its empire promising everyday low prices is now becoming the most powerful advertising platform in the world. And the TV in your living room is the entry point. Other than that, I got nothing. When we come back, hour number 3, is this what Congressman Tim Burchett said about the UFO files? It keeps him up at night? Yeah, I got it for you next. How's that for a teaser beezer, right? God, she's good. I know. It's because I have collagen. Let's go there. Native Path. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. Always get the /Wendy. You know, this is weird. Did you know that most collagen supplements have more ingredients, so you can't identify the ones that they don't want you to identify, which would be the fillers, the artificial sweeteners, the flavors that have no business being in something you're putting in your body every day, right? This is why Native Path is different. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. It's just one ingredient. That's all. Like there's no list. Here it is. One ingredient. Right here. Collagen peptides. That's it. One ingredient. 100% grass-fed collagen peptides. Third-party tested. Nothing hidden. And here's why it matters. Because after the age of 30, and I'm almost twice that age, your body produces less collagen every year. By the age of 60, most people have lost about half. This shows up in your joints, your skin, and yes, also your weight. Collagen is your body's most abundant protein, and protein is what keeps your metabolism working and your hunger in check. It's all connected. Native Path dissolves completely into your morning coffee. No taste, no clumping, and thousands of customers genuinely feel the difference. You get to try it risk-free 365-day money-back guarantee. Head to getnativepath.com/Wendy. And the discount, it's like up to 45% off. So the special offer through my link only, getnativepath.com/Wendy. I will tell you 100%. You take it for 2 months. I've been drinking the same. I got it in the bag. Hold on, I'll show you. I'll show you how I did it, if you care. So I get it in this bag, which I find is more cost effective. And then I dump it into my thing here, which is easier for me to take and have Brock fill up for me, right? And that's it. 1 scoop every day, 1 scoop for me, 1 scoop for Brock. Oh, the air conditioning just kicked on. And you don't taste it. And we put it in our drinks. And I've been drinking it for months now. And it's probably just one of those things that I'm going to keep doing. Like I want to be, if I'm lucky enough to live another 20 years, right? And torture my children and pay for their therapy. I want my children to look at me and be like, that's my girl. That's my mom. And I'm proud of how she looks. That's what I want. It may be vain, but whatever. GetNativePath.com/Wendy. The collagen peptides up to 45% off. That TV thing is freaking scary.
It's going to be bored by me.
What'd you say?
The TV thing would be bored by me. You're like, he's watching Bones again? Does this guy watch anything other than Bones and Scandal?
You know, but it's so true. Remember what are some of the things that you've looked for? You've been in the market for. You were looking for a new beer refrigerator.
Yeah.
You were hoping to get a new grill. And so if we talk about him, he would look on his phone and then there would be all sorts of ads
Facebook
for
would
that.
be littered.
And it's gross. It's gross. I don't listen to what first of all, are you guys eavesdroppers?
No.
Do any of you like to listen in on conversations or lurk to hear what people are saying? You know, I've told my kids this. Be careful what you listen to. Right? It's like walking in on your, grandmother naked. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I've said that to my kids too. Don't ever walk in here. Because once you see it, you'll never unsee it. You don't want to see it. Trust me.
I had, the one radio station we worked at, the producer could hear everything. If they pulled up a certain button, you could hear everything that was being said in the other studio.
Just so gross.
And someone that I had worked with was complaining to me about what someone said. I'm like, They said that to your face? Like, and she's like, well, no, I heard it through the cue button. I'm like,
That's gross.
that's what I said. Well, how can you be mad about something? What?
You listened in. You chose to invade
You
somebody's
chose
privacy.
to listen.
And they said something that hurt your feelings or pissed you off. Well, so yeah.
That's
So
your own fault. Like, what are you going to say to them? I was eavesdropping on you, and I didn't appreciate what you said. It's just like, if I'm not part of the conversation, why would I care?
Right.
Some people are really good at giving hand gestures that you don't need to push the button to listen in, because you can see them yelling and screaming and giving hand gestures.
I worked for a brief while with another person in the radio, and he treated me disrespectfully a few too many times. And so I said, knock it off. And he's like, didn't even look up. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, don't talk to me like that. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, you know darn well what you're talking about. Don't belittle me. Don't put me in a corner. Don't do that. I'm well aware of that. Knock it off. And you try to get in my face.
Double-barreled.
I did a double bird. F you.
Yes.
Don't. Just don't. And
I'll never forget that day. Someone
was shocked. He was shocked. Brock was like this.
Was walking in, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like saying nothing. And he's like, I'm going to go in and say hi to Wendy. I'm like, yeah, you might want to wait till the commercial break. I'm like,
now might not be a great time.
And he's like,
I'm not a lip reader, but
Yeah.
I can see gestures. I know sign language.
He's like, appreciate that. No problem.
Just treat people with respect. Right. It's not complicated.
Don't eavesdrop.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. And you know what? I noticed something as a recovering former television news anchor and reporter. I am able to assess with shrewd and dizzying speed the BSO meter and the narrative that the networks like to present to the people. And you do too. I'm totally lying that I have some secret skill. But as a former Newsmax television employee, I find it very interesting that the network is allowing Rob Finnerty, one of their evening hosts, who I think is darling, I could eat him for breakfast, to get pretty deep into the UFO files. And I think Rob, shortly after we kind of glommed on to the story of these missing and disappeared and dead scientists and researchers, Rob Finnerty over at Newsmax started picking up this story and started getting more and more people on his program. And I think it's great. And I give a lot of credit to Newsmax because they didn't used to be that open-minded. And I don't think it was just a Newsmax thing. It was a Fox thing as well. I mean, you had Dominion voting systems threatening everybody with nearly $1 billion lawsuits. Why ever would that be? Because they didn't want us talking about stolen elections and tampered machines and Venezuela and Serbia and all of this stuff that you and I know about 2020. And so there's this silencing, that chilling effect, where if you can't report on the news because somebody at a higher level says, yeah, we don't want to talk about that. That happened to me many times with the network. I wanted to talk about the vaccine. They wouldn't let me. I wanted to talk about COVID deaths. They would not let me. And they were serious about that. And there would be no conversation ever about elections, about 2020 not being, a real election. So when Rob Finnerty brought this up yesterday on his show, I think Brock and I were like, what? So Matt Gaetz, probably 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago, he was the guy that dropped the whole idea that there is a human alien breeding program, that not only do aliens exist, not only are they here on Earth and here in America, possibly living in the ocean, that their aircraft, their spacecraft has crashed, that there have been biological materials, aka alien DNA, whatever the bejeebers it is, that for decades, somebody somewhere, ostensibly in the blob that is the CIA, et cetera, that they've been doing these weird experiments, and they're breeding human beings and these aliens. Now, how do you get human beings who are like, I'll do that, sure. Like, who does that? I'm a woman. Yeah, I'll absolutely carry that. Matt Gaetz said something it was wild. Was it him or somebody else who was like, they're literally picking people out of migrant caravans. That's how they got some of these people. They were coming up from the southern border to come into America under Joe Biden. And they literally just vanished people, disappeared people. I hate that word, but that's where we are. And victims of crime and other things, snatched to be used as literal human lab rats for some let's blend these things together and see what we make. Like, we thought gain of function research was funky, right? The furin cleavage site has been manipulated, and now it's right. But taking a human and taking an alien and going like peanut butter and chocolate, I'm like, so Rob Finnerty gets me back to my opening idea here, is over at Newsmax, and he's got Stephen Greer on. And Dr. Greer, former emergency room physician who dumped medicine to get full on into the investigation with this disclosure project, which he founded like 25 years ago. And he's been a truth teller. He's chronicled death threats. He says it. Yes, he understands the threat, the danger of being a whistleblower. But Rob Finnerty has him on his show last night, Dr. Greer, and he asks him some questions. And I was like, what? And he says, is this Dr. Greer? Is this what do you know what Congressman Burchett said about the UFO files that he's gotten access to that keeps him up at night? He said, if you saw and knew what I know, you'd be up all night long. And then he said, and I am not suicidal. What? Finnerty asks Dr. Greer this very thing. Listen.
Okay, so he said the things that I've seen would keep you up at night. You texted me right after the show that night, Dr. Greer. Right. Do you know what he's talking about, like, specifically?
Yeah, I do. So for a number of decades, we have used the retrieved non-human bodies, biologicals they're called, and created creatures that are part human, part not human, in very advanced biomedical research. And I've known about this since the 90s, and these have been used in covert operations, like the CIA document we have that admits they were using this sort of tech as well as the man-made UFOs to stage and hoax alien abductions and all manner of nonsense. The problem is it sounds like a science fiction movie, but it's been part of a larger multi-decade psychological warfare operation, partly run out of a division of the CIA and some out of other special operations and attached to the aerospace industry giants. But yes, we know details of that. We know where these weird experiments are going on. And I've handed that off to certain people in the national security structure and to certain members of Congress, as well as the names of whistleblowers who have been involved.
Okay, let me hold on. So there's a breeding program. Matt Gaetz said that. Tim Burchett didn't deny that. you're confirming that. Are there female volunteers that are taking part in this program? Like, how does that work?
No, there are no. The human subjects are ones who have been captured in distressed areas and used for human experimentation. It's similar to what one of our whistleblowers admitted to, last year when he said that.
Do you know, Dr. Greer, why would we do this? Like, who would want to do that?
They would do it to try to create diversions and make people think that there's a threat from outer space when there isn't one, and also to confuse and cover up illegally run covert programs and say the aliens are doing it.
Like, what part of that did you want to talk about? The creatures that they've been breeding since the 90s? Or is it that it's a CIA multi-decade psychological operation? And remember when we brought you Werner von Braun? We played for you the Dr. Rosin sound bites where she was saying back in the 70s, the father of modern rocketry warned her on his deathbed. Don't fall for the whole idea that there's space wars and we need to do all the. Don't fall for when they drop aliens on you. There's something major that's about to hit. And this is where Dr. Greer continues with that.
General Mike Flynn retweeted the interview with Tim Burchett. Here's the quote. I think we have the tweet. I believe Tim Burchett. He is not a man to mince words or to short sell the normal political BS, but be aware of a false flag alien operation by rogue elements inside the U.S. government. Dr. Greer, can you explain what he's talking about?
Yes, and this is exactly what Werner von Braun, who invented the rocket for Adolf Hitler, warned us on his deathbed. And he said that there would be an attempt to hoax a threat from outer space and kind of throw the world into sort of a totalitarian global dystopia. And that's been a plan that's been around since the mid-1950s. Okay. So General Flynn is 100% correct. And these sort of weird and scary things that you hear about associated with UFOs and UAPs is part of that psychological warfare operation.
Okay.
Okay. To accomplish what? Like, the way I look at psychological operations, they're created for a reason to achieve a desired goal. Have I been looking at the hantavirus the wrong way? We were looking at that and we're like, oh, they think we're stupid that we forgot about COVID, that they need us all freaked out, panicked about something, right? And so COVID, well, we'll dust up this virus and we'll put it on a cruise ship and everybody will freak out, right? And we'll do the same thing because that's what they do. They don't think you're smart enough to have learned after 5 years of being lied to, which we're going to get into more in the next half hour, right? But I can't figure this out. Is it all along? Are they going to drop this alien false flag thing? Oh, we're under attack because they know what's coming in the next elections? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But it's kind of weird that all of a sudden we're normalizing chitter chatter of breeding programs to create creatures. And shocker, the CIA is involved. What? I know. You guys didn't see that coming, did you? When we come back on the way, like, I don't even know, how do you transition off of that? How do you go away from that? Speaking of space creatures that were breeding with humans, never forget what they did to you. Never forget. New information about the jab about deaths of children. The FDA covered it up. It's disgusting, and you must know about it next. You know, a lot of people are like, I don't understand if Dr. Simkovich can fix my, essentially, if you have a broken brain, you have a brain that's injured down to the cellular level, if you've got a traumatic brain injury or a concussion. But you can't identify a traumatic brain injury through MRI, X-ray, CT. So it's like, how do you know that you're not right? You got hurt. But where are you going to go to fix it? Like, because it's not going to show up on something. So how's somebody going to fix that? And I think there's that weird black hole where people just feel desperate and all alone, and you can spiral really, really quickly. But and so people will say to me, how could Dr. Simkovich fix your brain without surgery, without needles, without some kind of fancy equipment, without some weird intervention where like, rah, rah, rah. It's just his hands. How does he do that? And so I found this that Dr. Simkovich and his team had given me, and it's very helpful. Concussion is a type of traumatic brain injury, whether it's mild, moderate, or severe. It creates chemical changes within the brain cells and makes it more difficult for the brain to function. So it's really a cellular thing. Therefore, the effects of concussion can be really far-reaching. The signs and symptoms of a concussion are incredibly important because a concussion does not show up on these imaging, like I said. There's no objective test for it, like drawing blood or saliva that can determine if the patient has concussion. So how does he do it? Well, a doctor makes a concussion diagnosis based on the results of a comprehensive examination, which includes observing signs of a concussion in patients reporting symptoms, blah, blah, blah. Most people are not aware of the significant rate of concussion in the U.S. and worldwide. Traumatic brain injuries account for 30% of all injury-related deaths worldwide, and it's the leading cause of death and disability in the United States. The CDC estimates, and I don't trust them at all, but estimates that 2.5 million people each year and approximately 3 million traumatic brain-related emergency department visits. 2.5 million people are hospitalized, go to the hospital every year with this. 2.5 million. So Dr. Simkovich, what does he do? Well, it takes time. That's why he says, give me a week. Give me a week of your life. Fly out. You're going to stay. You're going to show up at the office. We're going to spend 3 hours with you, whatever, 4 hours with you. You're going to observe. You could do all this stuff. And then over the course of the next several days, we're going to fix you. And we're going to do it here. We're going to do it here. And then by the 4th day, you're going to be done. You're going to be ready to go home and you're going to have your life back. Okay. 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. The reviews are amazing. People talk about the practice. They explain their experiences. Go read, call. All of them know all about it. When you call, there's not some like temporary work or taking the phone call. These are people who've been with Dr. Simkovich for 20 years. Everybody can answer your questions. That's what I'm talking about. Imagine this time next week, you could be back to you. 412-366-3700. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. Like, what do you do with that, Brock? We are going to create some creatures. So they're clearly doing
I'm not
it.
shocked because I've heard this for years.
You're clearly doing something outside the parameters of a womb. So you're doing test tube COVID, right? Instead of going to the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
This all started with Dolly the sheep.
They just snatched a couple people, researchers and scientists who disappeared, right? Grabbed them. I don't know, you guys. I don't have the answers, but I know when we're being played. And I'm not at all surprised that we would say they're aliens, but... Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. It's taken a long time. It's not fast enough. It makes me angry. The number of people out there still walking around with plausible deniability or just willful blindness who refuse to see that after that shot I got for COVID, things really went weird. Nobody in my family is cancer, and now it's like all over the place. So weird. Really? Like we were talking about this when people on television were dropping dead. You know, when a meteorologist is standing up and they're like, and then they drop out of the frame. But nobody talked about it. We did. We talked about it. We talked about it. I want to play something for you. And it's Dr. Fauci. It's Tony Fauci, Anthony Fauci, who we know from the CIA whistleblower, was the guy who injected himself in this entire national dialogue about COVID, its origins, and all of that. The guy who funded the research that made the virus more deadly. The guy who lied about it repeatedly under oath and then finger wagged you and said you didn't trust science if you didn't trust him. He changed his story. He knew all along what was going on, of course. Of course it was a lab leak. But I want you to hear how more lugubrious his stories, how more fantastic the tale became as the years went on. So what we have is essentially a 4-minute mashup. We cut it in half. And we're going to chronicle the first 2 minutes is Dr. Fauci, various snippets in a mashup on various sites where he was paraded as the guy who knows everything. You ready? 2020 to 2021. Here you go.
It likely jumped species from an animal reservoir into humans and now is spreading among humans. The mutations that it took to get to the point where it is now is totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to a human. Are you calling for the closure of the wet markets? I think they should shut down those things right away. I mean, it boggles my mind because what we're going through right now is a direct result of that. And you have animals that come out of the wild that are sold at these open, what they call them, wet markets, where people buy these things for festive dinners or what have you. So there's every reason to believe that that jumping of species from an animal reservoir occurred.
I am of the point of view that I still think the most likely etiology of this pathogen in Wuhan was from a laboratory, escaped.
So Dr. Redfield was mentioning that he was giving an opinion as to a possibility. But again, there are other alternatives, others that most people hold by. That the most likely origin is a natural origin from an animal reservoir to human. What they did is they cleaned out the markets as soon as it turned out that it was clear that there were clusters coming from the market, which, in typical fashion, I think trying to make sure that things don't get pointed to them, they probably got rid of the animals that were the intermediary hosts there.
The place of origin was not within the market itself.
No, I don't think you could say that. I don't think you can say that. I think you could say we don't know how and where it originated. There are wet markets in Wuhan that are ample opportunity for a virus to jump, but more likely that it's a natural occurrence from an animal reservoir to a human.
Oh, by 2022, even morons like Chris Cuomo were picking up the pieces. Listen.
So it came from a wet market in the same place where there's this huge lab that does all the kind of development of exactly what this thing is. That's some coincidence.
It's a coincidence, but there are so many labs all over China that have both labs and wet markets. If it were in Beijing or Shanghai, you'd be saying the same thing. You have a coincidence. There are no lab leaks that have led to pandemics. So there have been accidents in a lab that happens intermittently. We've had experiences with that in modern times recently. But there have never been a situation where a virus escaped from a lab that's a brand new virus that no one has ever seen before that led to a pandemic. That has not happened.
Brand new virus that we certainly weren't tinkering with for a long time. That virus whose various elements have been patented by people. We don't know anything about that, Brock. It's a total mystery to me.
Yeah, who patented that? What were they thinking?
I don't get it. It's so weird. Nobody knew. This never happened. That means it could never happen. No, see, this is what happens when you lie. When you're a scumbag and you don't tell the truth, it snowballs. And then you know what happens when it snowballs? People die. And we'll never know. We'll never know the full degree how many of us died. Not just from the virus, but from the jab. And that's what we're greasing up here. Because Ron Johnson and his tireless work talking to victims of vaccine injuries has dropped a report that is absolutely damning. It exposes the FDA for lying about the dangers they knew in advance to children, and children died. Never forget what they did to us. I've got that story next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Like, by no means do I consider myself some super sleuth. I'm not some like rock star. Wow. she's got her sonar already. No, I'm like, you sit back and you're like, this is so ridiculous. And then it took 2 years for some people to start figuring it out. Chris Cuomo, that was 2023, not 2022. It took him like 3 years. Good job, Chris.
That's because he was on a station and didn't push it.
Well, and he was jerking around. Remember that giant
Q-tip?
Q-tip, and he was yucking it up with his moron, sexually deviant brother. I don't know. Feeling up women in the office, whatevs. Standard operating.
I mean, let's be fair about this. When they came out and started telling you could get a free donuts and cheeseburgers and
it's
fries.
A free fishing license.
Fishing licenses, lottery.
We're going to do a license. We're
for
going to
a car.
Lottery for a car.
Like that should, if you're not hip to their bullshit with that kind of stuff, like when you have to entice me to get something,
yes,
I don't know. Nothing's free.
Healthy Cells Calm Mood. Do you ever feel like you're going to lose your mind? Like you're just like, oh, I just got so much going on right now. My jaw's hurting and I'm like, and you might reach for a prescription relaxant, anti-stressor, whatever. No. Calm Mood from Healthy Cell. I really like this company. I tell you every day. This is how it comes. This little gel pack, Calm Mood. You take this off. And you know what's nice about these things? You don't have to have like an iron grip to figure this out. Berry lemon. It's good. That's it. Calm Mood. You get things that are not pharmaceutical, that are not making Anthony Fauci money because, oh, by the way, he gets royalties off a bunch of stuff. Isn't that fun? Isn't that cute? Oh, let me tell you what's in it. I'm sitting here eating it, and I'm going to tell you what's in it. So Healthy Cell is a wonderful company that's smart. They realize some people don't like taking pills. Some people have a hard time swallowing pills. And the older you get, the less your stomach acid is able to digest the pill. So you end up pooping it out anyway. So it's like sometimes limited effects. So Healthy Cell was like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get wonderful supplements that rival, some of these things, the heart and vascular health one, they take like 12 supplements that you would normally take and put it into one microgel. So you're like, thank you. This, let's see what it has. I have to put my glasses on. This replaces tablets, capsules, and powders. The microgel does. And it says, start your journey towards calm with our berry lemon flavored microgel, made with a balanced blend of adaptogenic herbs for a tranquil mind. Find peace amidst the stressors of everyday life. Sense of calm. It's got ashwagandha, L-theanine, and magnesium. Occasional stress relief. It's got GABA, vitamin D, B vitamins, and 5-HTP. I don't know what that means. It's got mood balancing stuff in there, including B vitamins and saffron. That's what it is. Did you see any like multi-syllabic words that I couldn't pronounce that belong in the periodic table of pharma? No, because that's not what they do. They get stuff that's out there that's natural, that can take you and calm you down. They can take you and let you fall asleep. That can focus you and get your mind sharp. That can fix your help your eyesight, hair, skin, nails, all sorts of formulations. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. 20% off your first purchase. I'm telling you, I knew last night when I went to bed at 10:15 because the kids had one of their last soccer games. And then we went out for dinner with a couple of the other families. I knew it was going to be a long night. And I knew I was going to wake up early and go to the gym. I took a Healthy Cell REM sleep. And I will say I take it about 10, 15 minutes before I go to bed. I laid down. I remember about a minute. And then I got up to go to the bathroom once, laid back down, and I woke up earlier than usual, a little after 3 today. And I felt perfectly fine. And I feel perfectly fine right now. Now, ultimately, over the weekend, I'll catch up. But it's special. I'll just say that. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. Special. Ron Johnson's fit to be tied. He's on a warpath.
Real close to losing his
Shizzle. Yes. Yes, he is.
He should be.
He should be.
They all should be.
He's heard so many stories. He's heard the stories of the parents going into their kid's room because the kid should be up getting ready for school. Billy, are you up? Where's Billy? And they go up and he's dead in his bed. Can you imagine walking into your child's room and finding them cold and blue?
I think the most frustrating thing is that it didn't have to be this way. Common sense, if people would just let common sense dictate their thinking. I'm not saying you have to be a scientist.
I get it.
Just common sense could have avoided thousands of deaths, tens of thousands of deaths. And the way people just threw away critical thinking, it's just crazy, like nutty.
That's why I look at people in my family. I'm like, what the hell happened to you? Yeah. Never told the public. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. A lot of you found this program during COVID. A lot of you from other places found us on Facebook. And then you found us on our new radio stations that we went to. And then I got fired because I started talking about vaccine injury. And then we found another place to land. And more of you found us there. And I got fired again. Because it's really, really inconvenient to tell the truth about the biggest brainwashing op that exposed a lot of people's lack of critical thinking skills. Like, it did not take rocket science, ladies and gentlemen. You did not need to go to college to figure this out. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But the things that are coming out about not just the origin of this virus, which we already knew, for heaven's sakes. The degree of the damage of the vaccine, which wasn't a vaccine. It's a gene scrambler. It was a freaking experiment. And you were a crash test dummy. How many of you know somebody who died? How many of you know somebody or you yourself who got that vaccine and got diagnosed with something really odd, some disease, some cancer? Your family doesn't have cancer. We have no history of this. What could it possibly be? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. When we were talking about the actuarials in Indianapolis, remember that? And the deaths were up 40% in working age people. Like, that's not normal, you guys. What's really unnormal is for kids to die. What's really abnormal is for children to be called down for breakfast in the morning because obviously they're running late, and for their parent to walk up into their room and find them cold and blue and dead in their bed. And not only did that happen, it happened a lot. And anybody who wanted to talk about it got treated the way Spencer Pratt's being treated for showing up in LA and wanting to make a difference. Or has been treated the way that CIA whistleblower is. They'd be blackballed, never get a job again. Ron Johnson has been a good man. He decided to run for re-election when he wanted to retire. because he knew what was at stake. And he's had all of this testimony, all of these people come in. And he's listened to these parents. The Biden administration lied to the public and told us that the jab was safe. And they knew that it wasn't. They knew it was killing children. Look, you can be willfully blind about a lot of stuff. But about something that costs your children their life or their longevity, that's enough. This is an article at the Liberty Daily from a stunning report that confirms, again, skeptics' concerns over the deadly impact of the COVID-19 shots created by pharmaceutical companies and sold for billions of dollars to the American government during the pandemic. It's known that federal officials linked those shots to child deaths at the time, and the Biden administration kept it secret. The Biden administration kept it secret. They knew. The kids were dying, and it was bad. There was no need for them to get it. And they lied to you, and they didn't tell you that. They tell us Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Do you think forcing poison into your children so that they could go to school or camp or Cooperstown to play in the Little League World Series or what have you, do you think that's maybe more of a threat? I'm going to go with yeah. Investigative journalist Catherine Herridge has reported online that Joe Biden's administration suppressed details about COVID shot pediatric deaths, as well as the total death count. She cited a study done on children who died, of which a number died of the effects possibly or probably related to the COVID shots. They tried to tell you that children were vectors of disease, that they were going to come home and drop dead with this virus. And we monitored the numbers every single day from that vaccine adverse event reporting system, VAERS database, even when they started hiding it, and we found it anyway. And the numbers were infinitesimal, the number of kids who were dying from COVID. Oh, and those who did had on average, what was the number? Four comorbidities. So not only did they have congestive heart failure, they had diabetes, they had lupus and something else. And all what? They got the vaccine and they died, or whatever, COVID, and they died. And they try to make that sound like, it's so disgraceful. Herridge cited a study done on children who died, of which a number died of the effects possibly or probably related to the COVID shots. While the Biden administration was telling parents the COVID shots were safe for their children, its own FDA, its own doctors were quietly reviewing files on 96 dead kids and concluding that some of them had probably been killed by the shots. One is too many. Whose life isn't worth it? Right? How much do they beat you over the head with that kind of nonsense? But it's funny. Nobody was really paying attention to the kids. We were. It was Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin who released records this week of the situation, along with documentation of the problem. He told Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that FDA officials at the time were given details of a new algorithm that included dozens of safety signals for serious adverse events, including sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction, and more. We told you about this 2 weeks ago. But instead of alerting the public, the FDA decided to continue to use the old algorithm. Well, you know what? That's going to impact sales. So let's not let everybody know about all that stuff. And when people know that people are going to die or whatever, we'll just put that on the back burner. And we'll just say, everything looks pretty good. Yeah, that's what they did. The letter from Johnson pointed out that there were 1,675,590 reports of adverse events from the shots. I mean, is there a trend? I don't know. Coincidence? Including 39,077 deaths, of which 9,323 happened within 2 days of vaccination. The key document is a December 5th, 2025 FDA memorandum. It covers 96 pediatric deaths following COVID-19 vaccination reported to VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, a federal database where patients and doctors report side effects. But you know as well as I that between 0 and 9% of those side effects are actually ever accounted for. And so the numbers in VAERS are wildly, wildly underestimated. FDA medical officers reviewed every case, including autopsy reports, death certificates, medical records, and classified 7 as possibly or probably related to the vaccine. 5 of those 7 deaths involved myocarditis. Those fatal cases actually were new safety information under federal law, but the report said it was never added to the shots' labels. Why ever would we want to do that? This is Ron Johnson. I think you need to hear. This is why I think Marty McCary was pushed out. Because I've read online that he was one of the people that hid the safety signals about the problems with children dying from the jab. And Bobby Kennedy, I think, went when Ron Johnson sent him this letter. Brother, we know what's going on. We know that the vaccine's killing kids. And we know that the FDA covered it up. And the VAERS didn't successfully indicate that. And so Marty McCary now out at FDA. Coincidence? No, I don't think so. Ron Johnson is fit to be tied. And yesterday he called out the fake news for ignoring the deaths of how many Americans because of that jab. And he says out loud, where have you been? I have the same question of the mainstream media. Where have you been? Because we've been on it for 5 years.
I need the mainstream media, CBS, ABC, CNN, to step forward and start covering what is a major scandal. How many thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of people are permanently disabled or possibly lost their life because our FDA hid the fact that there were safety signals screaming at them with the COVID injection. So again, you can't answer all my questions in terms of but we need to figure out who is running this deep state.
Who is running this deep state? Who is running an operation that allows top secret classified details of the assassination of John F. Kennedy and of the CIA mind games, MK Ultra? Who authorizes that? Those files to be stolen in the middle of the night from Tulsi Gabbard's office, right as she's about to declassify them and drop them on the public. Who does that? Who is able to shut down the truth about this? I want to read you just 2 paragraphs of Senator Johnson's letter to Bobby Kennedy, which probably led to the firing of Marty McCary. He says, Dear Secretary Kennedy, on April 29th, 2026, the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations held a hearing and released a report titled Unmasked: How Biden health officials purposefully turned a blind eye toward COVID-19 vaccine safety signals. Because of your commitment to radical transparency and compliance with my January 2025 subpoena, the subcommittee was able to uncover a major scandal within the Department of Health and Human Services during the Biden administration. Specifically, federal health officials knew their COVID-19 vaccine safety analytics system was insufficient, and they refused to implement a superior updated system that could better detect safety signals for vaccine adverse events. Code for a lot of people died who didn't have to. However, much work remains to fully uncover the extent of federal health officials' willful blindness toward the harms of the COVID-19 vaccines. In particular, the requests connected to my December 15th, 2025 letter regarding the Food and Drug Administration's findings of pediatric deaths connected to COVID-19 vaccines still remain outstanding. I write, therefore, to underscore the need for your leadership in ensuring key records and individuals be made available to the subcommittee to provide the radical transparency you have rightly promoted. So if Bobby Kennedy's not in charge of HHS, who is? If Tulsi Gabbard's not in charge of the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, of the National Intelligence, right? Who is? If President Trump doesn't have access to the UFO files, why not? Who's running the show? And is it that the person who's mating humans and aliens to create a false flag? I don't know, but now you're ready for it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, broken, beaten, and just plumb stupid. I mean, I could talk about a lot of people. That's Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, I got proof of it next. More Gains Fitness. You know, if you live in Somerset or Cambria counties, I'm just going to say this to you, and you haven't joined More Gains Fitness. Talk about a wonderful way to unwind at the end of the day, or a great way to start your day. Punching a heavy bag, getting on an elliptical, pushing, weights around, getting your body back. How do you do that? Well, you can either join More Gains Fitness in one of their 4 locations, Somerset or Cambria counties, Pennsylvania, land before time. Or since we're inclusionary, see, that's what we do. We include everybody. And no matter where you live, why don't you hop on the 90 Ignite program? Go to moregainsfitness.com and get yourself in queue for the waiting list. I'm sure there is one right now, because they will teach you online. They'll show you videos of the exercises, how you do them, what kind of materials you need. And you do one thing. You change the way you eat. You get your butt moving. So you get your steps in. Got to be walking. Walk. Drink water with obviously the stuff that I put in it, of course. And you gotta work out. And Kelly makes it easy for you to do, and you can do it all at home on your computer through the computer with her. More Gains Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. And the before and after pictures are stupid. Stupid. I see thin women who want to get skinnier. I see obese people who want to feel better. Their transformations are equally amazing. The woman who wants to firm up, the guy who wants to lose the moobs, all of it, they're connected. So wherever you are on the spectrum, moregainsfitness.com. MORGAINZ. You falling asleep over there? You've been kind of quiet.
No.
No?
Today's Thursday.
Oh.
Bad jokes, WBRBrock@gmail.com. Good news, Wendy Bell Radio @gmail.com or WBRBrock@gmail.com.
I'm sorry. I have a lot of emails. I have 14,000 of them.
That causes me stress.
But you know what? If any of them was all that important, I would have known about it. Now, that's not to say I haven't seen any of them. I've seen many of them. I just haven't gone through and done the
WBRBrock@gmail.com.
Aw. Let's see how many. Look at you guys.
Get your bad jokes in early. And when I say early, I mean by tonight.
Can we get 160 people to click it right? Can we get to 2.5? We're at 2.34. That's terrible. Just click that thumbs up button. Can you please help me?
Yeah, we got to get to 2.5.
I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning for you people today.
You people. That's these numbers. I hate to say it.
They kick you off the leaderboard.
They boot you.
Right?
One of these days, the pet show will be top 10.
235. Okay, so now we only need 150. Thank you.
And if it's after the show,
140.
If you're watching later, you can still hit that.
Still rumble, please. These numbers are makes me sad.
Poopy.
Very poopy. And the comments
no
are
one's getting
poopy
their butt
too.
scratched.
I know, right?
2.5.
No scratchy. No,
No
scratchy. 110. You know, we got to do better than these people. I mean, like, honest to goodness, don't you think Democrats deserve better than morons like Hakeem Jeffries? His whole manner of speaking is so aggravating. There's nothing authentic. It's robotic. It's coached. He's got talking points that whomever behind their curtain prints out and sends to everybody, so we're all on the same page. And he's just such a clodhopper, and he's such a liar. And I wanted to play this for you because they're broke, beaten, and just plain stupid. Democrats lose at least a dozen seats to redistricting, and they're in full panic mode. So how do you know that to be the case? Because Hakeem Jeffries says it all. And I want you to... Manu Raju from CNN, one of their big government guys, the reporter guy, he calls out Hakeem Jeffries ostensibly in the Capitol somewhere. And he's like, look, you guys totally blew your wad of $100 million to redistrict Virginia and you lost. Don't you feel like a complete buffoon? And so this is where Hakeem Jeffries tells you there's cheating in the works. Ready?
I mean, you ultimately lost this, and you take personal
Who
responsibility.
lost?
You lost in the
Who
state
lost?
Supreme Court.
Did the voters lose?
Well, Democrats did, and you're lost.
Did the voters lose?
You take personal responsibility for investing so much time and resources, tens of millions of dollars, in ultimately fruitless effort.
We did the right thing, and this effort is not over. It's just getting started. And by the way, come back to me on November 4th when Democrats have taken back control of the House of Representatives. That's ultimately going to be, what matters. What do the American people, we are going to win the House of Representatives. I'm telling you that right now. I've been telling you that from the very beginning.
Very confident. It was sort of like Josh Shapiro in 2020. He was the Attorney General, I believe, of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But he was saying, when all the votes are counted, Joe Biden will be the winner. And we're all like, that is an odd thing to say, right? And we had to leave you with a smile. Jesse Waters takes on lefty Jessica Tarlov. He needles her over Democrats scrambling for some kind of a life preserver because, I don't know, anybody at 30,000 feet looking down to see that the cards the Democrat Party is holding, they got a loser of a hand, period, no matter what Hakeem Jeffries is trying to sell you.
I do have to say something about Jessica. I saw her in the green room the other day, and she was crying. And I said, what's wrong? And I tried to console her, and she said, Jesse, the Democrats lost the redistricting war. We're going to lose 12 House seats.
That's not how it happened.
I said, here, take my pocket hanky. And she dabbed her eyes, and she goes, the only way we're going to win elections now is if we steal them. And I said, it's okay. You guys are very good at that. But that's the reality, 12 seats. And if you look at the generic congressional ballot, it's too close for comfort. You guys can't raise any cash. The DNC's broke. Trump has a massive war chest. And I get it. Trump is now taking so many issues off the table because he's been successful. No one's talking about crime, culture, the border, because those aren't issues anymore.
There is
the only issue, the trans thing, we don't even talk about it anymore. You guys lost that big time. On the economy, yes, gas prices are high because there's a little excursion. The Iranians shut down the strait, but he's not going to get pressured into a bad deal. And in the meantime, that will hurt Republicans. He's not on the ballot, so he's looking for the long-term interests of the United States. The reason you guys aren't getting any traction on the economy is because gas prices were higher for much longer under Biden. And you ran up the inflation rate to 9% and said it was a good thing. So stop. You guys made the country weird. You had guys with little nails, trans, running all over the White House, chasing Binder while Biden was asleep in his suit. You guys got to do what you need to do. Run a Nazi oyster farmer. Run a pastor who says God is gay. I don't care. Run a woman that dumped a scalding hot thing of potatoes on her husband's head. Whatever you need to do. We're the underdog. We like to run like that.
I thought that was great. I mean, it's funny. I don't think necessarily we're the underdog. And that's just it. I don't think that the Republican Party knows how to win. I think Donald Trump knows how to win. And this whole process has been a carving out of those who are okay with okay. I'm not okay with okay. I'm not okay with average. I'm not okay with being in the dark about what my government's doing or whomever is doing beyond what the government knows is being done. I'm not okay with human trafficking. I'm not okay with children being raped. I'm not okay with outrageous deficits, and I'm not okay with vaccines that are deadly and then the government covering it up. I'm not. I want to win, like President Trump says. You're going to get tired of winning, and you're going to say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. And he'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. Thanks for being part of the Today Show. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.